Greetings. I hope you are doing well. Now, okay, I can do it straight from here. Let me check that everything is in order. Oh, it's hot. Let me check the volume. Test 1, 2. Okay, seems good enough. Maybe just this. Welcome, brothers and sisters. I hope you're doing well. Let me share a few links. Oh, so the seed. Oh, first of all, let me just share the link for the people who want to join us. How you doing, sister? She was present. So, whoever wants to join the conversation, here is the invite link. How are you, brothers and sisters? Let me share a few links. First of all, here is the Twitter. Okay. Now, I will also share hold on. Let me know if you can hear me well, brothers and sisters. For those who are not aware, that video met in my ad is also in the chat. I will proceed. Wait. Quoi? Vas-y. Vas-y, vas-y, vas-y. Bah, maintenant là, qu'est-ce que tu veux que je fasse? Now, Deception of Asiatic Black Men. Thank you for the scene for letting me know that you can hear me well. Darius, he wrote M. Oh, by the way, see, I've lost the habit. I can put the comments on the screen, so bear with me for 1 second. What's that? So here we have Darius who wrote Mhotep Shaka. How are things in France? It's the same old, same old. Besides that corona scare for the second wave, I don't really like to drink like that. I'll do that after. Now we're gonna have to wear a mask on all public places. It was supposed to start on August 1st, but it's about to start by next week. Monday or Tuesday will be official. There's a place in France, far away from the capital, where it's as of today, because they have so many cases. A lot of people have been reckless. They were not careful enough. They didn't take viciously enough, and now we have more and more cases. This video also in the chat: White Semites, Black Awakening. So let me know what's on your mind, brothers and sisters. Hold on. Let me know what's good with you. Oh, Africanist World. He has joined us as well. He wrote Hotep Family. Hope your wife is doing well as also. Oh boy. So, like I was saying during yesterday's live stream, I got the opportunity to go to the Louvre Museum and film the painting of Amenhotep III, one of the most powerful king of Kemet, and his Black African phenotype speaks volume. Hold on. Darius wrote, "We are on the beginning of a second wave now in the US. Most states have a mask mandate. Florida, Alabama, California, Oregon, Texas are all having a massive spike right now, fortunately." Now, so the city is asking, how do we share this live? What do you mean by how do we share this? I don't really understand the question. This live stream, you mean? Well, the link, hold on, I will give you the link. I'm trying to share on IG. Stream link. This is the link. So do you have over 10,000 subscribers? Because I was told about this what is it, swipe up thing? And I was trying to do it, but then it wouldn't work. And I found out I realized after a while that it's for the people who have 10,000 subscribers. Those can actually have some clickable links for the swipe up thing, or whatever it's called nowadays. Now, so if I understood your question correctly, what I've shared right now in the chat is the live stream link, the link to this particular live stream. Now, Sharion Lutz wrote, "Is it really accurate data, the increase in reported case?" I think it is. I don't see what we will have reason to doubt that. Africanus World wrote, "All well, bro. I hope your family are well too." Yes, family is good. Thank you. Darius wrote, "I'm in Chicago and the gyms are opening back up. I made a bench bar and concrete weights in my basement. I'm going to fall back from the gym for a while." Yes, it's best to wait, because unfortunately, if more people were if more people were playing by the rules, quote unquote rules, we will not be in a situation that we are in. For example, in France, there's been some rave party not long ago, and that's very reckless. And in America, they've been doing COVID parties. I've addressed that during one of the live stream. One person, one participant of those COVID-19 party ended up dying. He ended up dying. I have a question. That's like random. I came across a documentary about the Supreme Team, and it's on a YouTube account called Our Prophet. This YouTube account documents a lot of organized crime or mafia or gangs from the past. And right at the beginning of the video about the Supreme Team, sorry if it was noisy, they said that for the 5%ers, or the NGE, Nation of Gods and Earth, smoking and drinking was allowed. That doesn't surprise me. I've heard that before. But it also says, it's written on the screen, that criminal activity is allowed within the NGE, the Nation of Gods and Earth, or the 5%ers. And that surprised me. Have you ever heard that? Let me just read the quote. I made a screen capture. Oh, snap. Oh, there it is. So it says, gambling, drinking, and criminal activities are allowed under the 5% or the 5% philosophy called mathematics. Hold on. So that's what he says. Have you ever heard that? I never heard that before. I don't recall hearing that. So that statement is from that account. So if you have ever heard such thing, then let me know. I'm just curious. So Sharion Lutz wrote, vitamin D supplement needed when lack of sun. Darius wrote, as in chess, usually the pounds go first. It's always best to sit back and watch. Yes, they had a COVID party in Florida. The guy who died was 30 years old. It's sad. Yes, indeed. 30 years old. Telling the nurse that he made a mistake. Now, in other news, Nick Cannon has apologized to the Jewish community. And he had written a statement where he expressed that he was sorry if he offended some people. And it was a long statement where he was talking about getting his dues regarding wilding out because of the situation of him no longer needed by Viacom. But this time, that's on his Instagram, on his story, he specifically wrote a message of apology directed at the Jewish community. When the situation arose, according to the statement by Viacom CBS, he was asked to apologize, but he didn't want to. So they fired him. Now that he was fired, he's apologizing. But there was another network that has decided to not part ways with him and keep him on board regarding one other program that he is hosting. Said that they consider that his apology was sincere, so they keep it pushing and they are sticking with him. In the meantime, I read that Puffy or Diddy or whatever you want to call him has reached out and invited him over the Revolt network. So we'll see how it goes. But there's a lot of people who love to say so many things. But just for the record, Nick Cannon has apologized. And on that note, regarding the true Hebrews and birthright and real Jews or whatever you want to call it, tomorrow I'm planning on uploading a video. A video of a footage where we see some Syrio-Palestinians. Okay, and you will also see some Nubians and some Libyans. So you will have a good look at the phenotype of those people. So if people want to talk about real Jews or real Hebrews, that's what they would have looked like. Now, at the time, I don't think you would have found a word, a documented writing mentioning Hebrews or Jews, because that artifact is over 1000 BC. But that's the people from the area that we now know as Israel, previously Palestine, previously Canaan. And some of you who have looked at my videos, the several videos that I made about the phenotype of the people from the Levant, Mesopotamia, the Near East, you will notice that the phenotype is consistent when it comes to those population. Darius wrote, I'm not familiar with gods and earth. I've heard of them, but I don't know much about them. Thinking back when they were popular, the people who I knew that were into the NGE had one foot in out the streets. So the Siddhas has never heard of the NGE either. Darius wrote, the Nick Cannon thing shows a really serious problem facing our community. We must establish ownership in the media. The media controls the mind of our people and is responsible for so much damage. So the Seed wrote, I don't believe in the concept of Black Hebrew Israelite. Hebrew alone has a meaning. Darius wrote, into the gun violence issues here in Chicago and abroad stem from other people controlling our image through the music and media as a whole. Well, there is a huge responsibility indeed in the imagery portrayed throughout different avenues, such as the music videos, movies also. Back in the days, in the rap songs, people were not promoting drugs or drug usage. Eventually, you will hear people saying that they used to sell weight to survive. But now, when you listen to the rap songs, people are boasting, bragging about using all kind of drugs. And there's the overall message of violence. And the thought culture. Some women who are proud to be thoughts now. Instagram didn't help because on Instagram, dang, hold on. So the seed mentioned Semites, and she addressed Darius saying, and we still follow along. Darius wrote, if we are going to regain control of the youth, we have to gain ownership in our music. The music is the real danger to us. I have cousins on the west side that listen to Lil Durk, Ghetto Uzi Vert, etc. When we listened back in 1982 to the song from Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5 entitled The Message, you can see how much the positive or the positiveness, is that's a word, but the positive aspect has deviated greatly. Kunsu work, Hotep, how you doing, brother? The infamous Loa wrote, do you still have the link of Professor Griff shading John Henry Clark? Unfortunately, no, because I have the video, but the link was uploaded on Dailymotion, and the Dailymotion account was terminated shortly after I have uploaded a video of a Nation of Islam doctor who claimed that we can cure AIDS with raw milk, and he made that claim publicly. So I'm hesitant to upload it on my account, but I might do that actually. Um, I will make a note of that. I'll make a note of that. And for those who don't know, that's way after John Henry Clark died. But they are expert at doing that, those Asiatic black men. Just like Farrakhan was shading Malcolm X way after he died. He was also throwing shade at, he also threw shade at, he was also shading or talking sideways about Khalid Abdul Muhammad way after he died. If you don't know what I'm talking about, anybody can go on my account, which is of course my art forever, and go to the search icon, so you can search within my channel, not the main search box that is on top. But when you have the menu, videos about, you should see on the right that search icon, and if you type in Khalid, the video will come up. So I've made note of that, so I will see later on. I cannot do any uploading right now. So let me go through the comments now. Darius wrote, in those guys in the drill scene are really pushing violence on our youth, and they are just trying to get out of the hood themselves. They are willing to do whatever the music corporations say. And famous Loa wrote, because the previous link was deleted. Indeed, it's not just the previous link, actually. It is a previous link, as all the other links. The whole account on Dailymotion was terminated. So the seed wrote Shaka, when it comes to Kemetic knowledge, are they using animals metaphorically to represent certain characteristics or the animal itself? I ask because similar to the Bible, the lion and the lamb. It has to do with characteristics. Mm, I did mention Professor Smalls, Professor James Smalls, who was talking, and he which deity did he talk about? I think it was Anubis, the jackal, the jackal. But if I'm not mistaken, I think it was him that I heard explaining that the jackal um, will know how to eat some remains of animals right before it turns bad for the system, right before it can even become poisonous and deadly for him. I can't remember if he mentioned the fact that he would like bury some meat and know how to eat it just before it turns poisonous. But there was something to that effect. Now, I forgot the name of the author. Ma'akerutep. I read that book from an author called Ma'akerutep. I think that was his name. That I forgot the book title. That was a decade ago, and he was talking about the, I think, the scarab or dung beetle, and the fact that that insect rolls his offspring in a ball, and he follows the path of the sun. And the scarab that kepera to become. So the offspring are inside of that ball of dust or whatever other material it is. Um, and then eventually life will come out of it. Oh, I forgot to say, the jackal is seen in the judgment scene when the heart of the deceased is weighed against the feather of Ma'at. We see Anpu or Anubis, hence the judgment, him being able to judge when it's the right time to eat the meat before it becomes deadly. So that's just an example, couple of examples. Oh, as for Heru or Horus, usually he's depicted um, as a headed or hawk headed deity. Now, these kind of birds can see from so far away. And many times we have the Ujat, which is the eye of Horus. So the idea, people usually say the all-seeing eye. Unfortunately, many times the eye is associated with Freemasonry because notably of the pyramid in the US dollar bill. I didn't get him. Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did. Oh, hold on. That's it. He's sleeping for good now. Okay. Now, so that's another example as well. Je vais reprendre. Bear with me 1 second, brothers and sisters. Hein? Non, mais viens la prendre, viens. Thank you for bearing with me. Okay, so keep the comments going, brothers and sisters. Keep your questions going. All right, and remember, for those who want to join the conversation, there's that link that I'm sharing right now. Link to join the conversation. So Sharian Lutz wrote, "There is much power in words. People need to sow words of a future and a hope." So the seed agrees. Clarissa Lucas has tuned in. Welcome. Feel free with your questions and comments if you have any. The infamous Loa wrote, "Can you send me the video?" Now I will probably upload that video of Griff talking smack about John Henry Clark. So don't worry about that. I've made a note, so I should do that soon. Darius wrote, addressing Saul the Seed, "It's all the youth see. The stuff is broadcasted to them, and then on top of that, it's people who look like and talk like them. It's a dangerous virus spread from a familiar source." Mm-hmm. So the Seed wrote, right, how you follow a group that killed Malcolm X? And there's one thing that is difficult to get over, and I've addressed that. That video entitled Malcolm X 28 Years Later, What Happened? When we see people attempting to rewrite history, just like they are trying to do with the Abrahamic belief system, with the patriarchs, trying to turn all of them black, even though Elijah Muhammad said that Prophet Muhammad was white. Farrakhan said that Prophet Muhammad was white. But there's this new trend, this new fashion of blackening everybody. But in that video, Malcolm X, 28 years later, what happened? It's so convenient to come nearly 3 decades later and say, well, actually what happened was this and that. Because for those who don't know, if you go on my website, the link is in the description box. That's the last link. And also you have it in the bottom right corner on your screen. You can just add the /English or just go to that address. But anyway, it's the last link. It's a clickable link in the description box. afrostyly.com/English. afrostyly.com/English. If you scroll through the bottom of the page, it says Nation of Islam Teachings. And once you are on that article, if you scroll at the bottom of the page, you have the Muhammad Speaks newspaper, where the woman who filed a paternity suit against Elijah Muhammad, those women are referred to as prostitutes by a minister of the NY. So it's on the NY's own newspaper, and it's a minister that is saying that. But yet, 28 years later, they bring those females on stage after whatever agreement they had, and they bring a new narrative talking about they were wives of Elijah Muhammad. How can they be wives 28 years later when 20 years prior they were referred to as prostitutes on their own newspaper? So before, we're talking about the hip hop. Before, on the rap game, on the hip hop, women started being called out of their names. The NOI will refer to women as prostitutes. Some people say you can't turn a hoe into a housewife, but some people turn prostitutes into wives. That's amazing to me. The rewriting of history. That's just amazing. But I bet, I guess, I'm sure that many people don't know that these women were referred to as prostitutes on the Nation of Islam's own newspaper. I'm sure a lot of you didn't know that. So you can see the newspaper and the article. Infamous Law wrote, appreciate that, brother. No problem. So the seed wrote, Ray Haggins was collecting the collections like the church tithes and offering on Sunday. I saw your comment. So the seed has she has watched the video of Ray Haggins when he had the debate with Wesley Muhammad. Hold on. I'm sorry. So Wesley Muhammad, I'm sorry, Ray Haggins showed up to the debate, but he did not debate anything. He did not present any slides. He just started preaching. And so that's just for the record. It was a while ago indeed, but that was such a bad look for the community or conscious community. It was just horrible. It was just horrible. The Asiatic black men, they were rejoicing. It was like a landslide victory for them. But when I tell you that the level is low, in the so-called conscious community, the level is very low. So the seed wrote, Ray Haggins was talking about nothing in that video. I was surprised they sat there and listened. Well, they were very surprised as well. A lot of them thought, because I remember very well when this happened, it was radio broadcast and people talked about it, but a lot of them were thinking that he was about to get into the subject matter, you know. And in the end, since he didn't get into the subject matter, we can see Sanetta, who was angry, and he told him to his face. He said he knew in advance, he knew I don't know if it's a month or 2 months in advance what the topic was all about and so on. You can see some of it in the video. You can see some of it in the video. So the seed wrote, thank you. I will look the book up. And I don't know if you are replying to somebody else, but for the record, what I mentioned, that's not a book. That's the Nation of Islam's newspaper, who used to be called Muhammad Speaks back then. Now it is called The Final Call. Kunzberg wrote, metaphorically, characteristics and spirituality. I'm sorry, spiritually. So the seed wrote, there's a trend of calling black women queens, but I read that women were called kings and queens were actually the king's whores. Have any of you read that? Um, are you talking about an organization or society, or I don't really know? Please be a bit more specific for me. Now, Darius wrote, I feel like the effort to blacken the Bible. I feel like the effort to blacken the Bible is an effort by people in the church who fear losing members to the growing conscious community. The conscious community is exponentially growing. I'm not really sure if that's the motive. I think as a whole, we just like to put ourselves in the mix. Now, So the seed wrote, that's what they mean by Queen's them law. Must be a wordplay, but I didn't get it. So the seed wrote, motivation like church, no educating. And Duma, greetings to you. He's addressing Darius, saying, you are 100% correct. People are not connecting with the religion, painting with people that contribute to that continue to be racist. So it has to be black to continue the falsehood. And there was a logic that is quite particular, and that is that if it was black, then it's okay. We had the slave trade, sub-Saharan slave trade, and then the transatlantic slave trade. But you know, there's a sad story. It was black first, then he got Aryanized. That same sad story. Um, I show the artifacts from museums, and usually I'm used to that. I get comments saying, "Oh, but no, these are fakes. They're not real. Those are not Sumerians. Those are not Mesopotamians. Those were Gudians." And I'm hearing all kind of things. So good. You can Everybody can claim that those are fakes. Darius wrote, Abrahamic religions bring so much imbalance to mankind by placing the woman at a lower role than man. I'm not shocked about Ray Haggins. He was a preacher, not a researcher. Different skill sets altogether. Kunsu is asking what? Let us know what you are inquiring about. Clarissa Lucas said, I'm about to. And she also wrote, what is your perspective on woman being God or more so black woman? Um, I understand when people say kings and queens, but kings and queens had rulership over a said territory. I'm not used personally to say those terms, but I understand people use those terms um, in a sense of pride and so on. But the God thing, God and goddesses, when really, like I said, king, queens, rulers of a said territory. But to go to the level of God, that's not what I say. I don't say that. Now, there was a brother, but he's in jail now. So I don't want to sound like I'm kicking a man down, kicking a man while he's down. But he was talking about the black woman is God, and he even made statements such as, um, I'm paraphrasing, but he was saying something like, men are degenerate women, or something like that. Like, really, he was, the black woman is God on steroid. It's one thing to claim that the black woman is God, but to claim that men are degenerate woman or something like that. I mean, I might find the quote. Let me look for it. Oh, that person was also saying that a a woman can have a baby without being touched by a man. And also, he was claiming that men can breastfeed. Now, Okay, I don't have the quote, the exact term about men being kind of degenerate women or something like that, but you know, the person was also claiming that there's no evidence that the sperm enters the egg, and some women had unnatural sex annually, and they produced babies. But that was at a certain time. That was at a certain time. We don't hear that nowadays, but that's just for the record. So the seed wrote calling women queens, and before they were saying women were prostitutes. That's what I was talking about, Shaka. I see. Now Clarissa wrote, so do you think soul ties, childhood trauma, unhealed wounds, narcissism, or the possibly of the I'm sorry, or the possibility of being attacked by spirits could be one and the same? If not, how do you know the difference? I'm sorry, I don't understand that question. Duma wrote the Hebrews will continue some sham/Semitic nonsense, but don't realize they are actually Ham being cursed from the beginning. I didn't know God blesses those he curses with land. Israel equals Canaan. Um, like I was saying, most of those people who are into the Abrahamic belief system will remain into those systems. We could say that they have been brainwashed. Now, if it was them talking about their belief, when it comes to these theological narratives, that would be one thing. But for a very long time, they have tried to validate their theology historically. And I'm sure you've heard such person, such biblical character was actually that Pharaoh. And they say so many things. And it's almost amusing, but it is sad when we hear those people trying to validate the Abrahamic theological writings with history. That exercise is disturbing, to say the least. Now, we have some dude from some squad. I mean, before you had a squad that was teaching that you had a squad that was teaching that Africans are living a jungle life, that black means death. And now we have some squad talking smack about Kemetic people, but bigging up the Bible heavily, trying to get down to history to validate at least some aspect of the Abrahamic narrative historically. But when it comes to records, we don't hear a thing. We don't see a thing. They are going to these writings, those theological writings, and say, "Oh, this is confirmed because it's written there," which is lame if you ask me. Where are the records? How old are the records? But the truth is that so many black people are just in love with those writings. They are so in love with those writings and those deities and those patriarchs, and they want to put themselves in the mix. So the city is surprised at the claim that men can breastfeed, but that claim was made more than once publicly on tape. But then again, I don't want to say the brother's name because he's been going through a lot of legal trouble, and I don't want to sound like I'm kicking a man down. But there are so many strange things, like a lot of metaphysical claims, metaphysics. At one point, it was very big. The metaphysics was very big at one point, but lately we don't hear about that anymore. And I'm not complaining. Kunzu wrote, first things first. What is your definition of God? Neter equals nature with a divine function and purpose. Right. He was asking Clarissa. I wouldn't say that nature is the same as nature. Neter or nature is the same as nature, because we must be aware of some particular wordplay or linguistic acrobatics or linguistic gymnastics. The Abrahamic believers, they do that well enough. They don't need our help. They are just professionals at linguistic acrobatics. Council work wrote that Abrahamic foolery. So, brothers and sisters, why not taking advantage and coming to speak directly? Let me share the link once again. Link to speak directly. I can have several people at the same time. So if you're not shy, you can use your webcam. If you are shy, then you can just use your microphone. If you don't want to show your face, you can use your smartphone to join the discussion, or you can use your PC. It's up to you. RP, how you doing, sister? Now he probably just showed. He probably just showed up to at least say he didn't chicken out of the debate. I don't think so. I don't think so. He probably saw a few excerpts of West Muhammad making his claims, and he thought, okay, I'm gonna go and repeat what people been saying for years, and I'm gonna be looking good. Um, Back then, he didn't have his full lectures online. He had just some excerpt. And Sarnetta even said that when Ray Haggins saw some clips of West Muhammad, he said, "Oh, that brother doesn't know what he's talking about." And then he went on stage, and he was not prepared. He was not prepared. And when you get paid, when you represent something, you must be prepared. You're going for a debate. You must be prepared. Oh man. And the worst thing is that after all that mess, after that lack of performance, he had the nerves, to write a statement, a public statement, where he said that he did not want to damage the credibility of the young brother. Some people, I mean, if when you talk about ego, what is it? You show up, you don't represent, you show up, you don't show and prove, you just talk, you don't address the topic. And for those who have seen the video, at one point he said, "Oh, I could put my USB key and present something here." No, you could. That's what you should have done. That's what you were paid to do. But it's all good. People are going to say that I'm hating. People are going to say that I'm hating. But anyway, um, I can't remember the date of the debate between Wesley Muhammad and Ray Haggins. But for those who don't know, Wesley Muhammad has challenged me to a debate. I accepted, and Wesley Muhammad just ran. He took off running, scared for his life. So it's all good. So the seed wrote, Kemetic belief includes astrology, right? Well, that's what some people say. In the Bible, it talks about the three kings who visited Jesus studied the stars. If it was evil, why would God send them a dream to avoid being killed by Herod? There are so many contradictions in the Bible. I'm actually also was thinking about doing a live stream about the contradictions in the Bible. There are just so many contradictions. It's not surprising. There's a fair bit of books. Can't remember if it's about 50 books. So you had different books written by different people over different periods of time, and there was some selection about the books and so on. I mean, it's so long and complicated, and big issues that people think that it's the word of God or the word of people inspired by God. Sharion wrote, "Do you mean astronomy rather than astrology?" And so the seed wrote, astronomy and astrology was viewed as the same until the 16th century, according to Western standards. They separated the two. Darius wrote, part of me wonders if Haggins got scared. They were quite loud and vocal in there. I think he really got shook. I was very disappointed in Haggins' showing. He really did the comedics a disservice. He did a great disservice, but I don't think he was scared. I think he was just not prepared at all. He was just not prepared. Wesley was not known back then. He came out of nowhere. He was People didn't know him in the community. As a matter of fact, when Wesley came into the community, he was challenging all those people: Phil Valentine, Bobby Habits, Walter Williams, everybody. He was just begging for attention. And then when he said, quote, throw him into the garbage can, throw my out in the trash can, throw I'm rather slave making God away, that's when I gave him the business. That's when I let him know that he cannot mess around like that, thinking it's gonna be sweet. And then he thought for one hot minute that he could holler at me, and then I let him know what's up, just a preview, and he ran. He challenged me publicly, then he ran. He was not prepared either. So I think it was the same with Ray Haggins, where Haggins was not prepared. I really don't think he was scared. He didn't have any reason to be scared. Besides, it was said that he came in accompanied by an armed police officer as security. I don't see why he would have been scared. And besides that person, whether it was true or not, but people said that. See, that goes back then, but that's a while back, but that's what people were saying. But besides that gentleman who accompanied him, there was security. There's not about to be any trauma. It's just a debate. It's just a debate. No trauma. No get your hand out of my pocket. So the seed wrote, I think the NOI is good for discipline and militant communities in the black community. They do teach both men and women how to protect themselves. Everybody can do self-defense. you you don't have to join an organization that teaches that Africans are living a jungle life and Africans are not civilized and black people are cursed uh, because they rebelled against God and they were disfigured, and the black phenotype is the essence of ugliness. So discipline, we could say so. But militant, I really doubt it. Militant, I really doubt it. And one example is the recent events of police brutality and what's up with them. And it's always been like the same. Now, if they are the victims of the police brutality, they'll probably speak. But militant, I wouldn't say so. So the seed wrote, we can all play different roles to make a strong body within the community. Yes, but whoever teaches that Africans are living a jungle life and Africans are not civilized and natural hair is a disease catcher or disease carrier, like Falcon has said publicly, I cannot roll with that. So the seed wrote, I just don't lie about what you stand for. And Duma S wrote, what is this scene they talk about? I thought you knew. Let me share it. So in the chat, I'm sharing the link. It says Shabazz malediction. This is where you can see and hear Farrakhan on tape, and it's in color. He's saying that we didn't have kinky hair prior to rebelling against God. And after we rebelled against God, we were mocked. We were disfigured. We didn't have broad nose, thick lips, and kinky hair. Falcon says that we went to the jungles. Shabazz took his people to the jungles of East Asia that we call Africa. Africa is the jungles of East Asia, according to the Nation of Islam's doctrine. So you can hear Farkan saying that the essence of beauty the essence of beauty lies in obedience, and the essence of ugliness lies in disobedience. He's basically saying that black people are cursed, just like John Henry Clark said. John Henry Clark, and really, Griff is very slick, because on that video that I will hopefully upload soon, Griff is talking about, I don't know why he kept blasting Minister Farrakhan. I never had a chance to ask him in person, but now I can ask the people who follow his doctrine. That's one of the main reasons why Griff was not happy, because John Henry Clark spoke out publicly addressing this curse. And the video is there. It's about the Million Man March. If you put John Henry Clark Million Man March, he mentions that. Dr. Ben also addressed that curse. And he said sickness. What is the sentence that he says? Oh, I forgot. But I had that back then. You see, the people been flagging my accounts. But to make the long story short, and I have the video somewhere, at least the audio, which comes from the video. John Henry Clark and Dr. Ben are probably the only two well-known scholars who spoke out against that curse. Everybody else quiet as a mouse. So for them, it's all good then. So that's the sin that they are talking about. Darius wrote, Shaka, watch out for him. He may have disappeared for now, but he's probably studying your videos looking for any weakness. When he reappears, make sure you've been studying him too and be ready. Are you talking about little homie Wesley? He's into Dianetics. He's into the Church of Scientology. Not long ago, he said that milk is liquid sunlight. That milk is the food of the gods. Oh, man. Inspired one, Hotep to you. So the seed wrote, why so concerning militant? They teach them how to use guns and defend themselves. We don't know that. Who's teaching how to use guns? The Nation of Islam, officially, they don't use weapons. They don't use guns. That's officially. That's on paper. When it comes to killing black people, we know how they get busy. They've been getting busy. Most African American communities do not know how to protect themselves. So if you're talking about the NOI, no, they do not officially. They don't use weapons. Clarissa Lucas wrote, what do you think about sacred altars and honoring your ancestors? Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with honoring the people who are there before you, particularly your direct lineage. Now, the Abrahamic believers will surely tell you that it's wrong, but they do the same thing. They're honoring people, and people who are not necessarily their ancestors. And some of them will mention some names, and they will call on blessings for them while mentioning their name. They will talk about their own mama. They will not call on blessings for their mama, but they will talk about some other people that they have never met, and they will call on blessings for their names. So they don't use altars. But every time they mention some particular names, they wish that mercy will be granted to them. They are honoring people. They are honoring patriarchs. They are honoring prophets. They give their children the names of the patriarchs and prophets, or children of the patriarchs and prophets, but they won't necessarily give their children the names of the people who came before them. So, honoring people who were before you, particularly those who did good, nothing wrong with that. That's a good thing. Clarissa wrote, addressing Soda Seed, I think not so much militant because they may train in military stance, but they won't and haven't gone to war for any African American cause. I'm sorry, African American cause such as police brutality. So the seed wrote, they have videos, Shaka, on YouTube training. But who's they? Who are you talking about when you say they? Now training, the two-step, the dancing, yes, they do that. But they do martial arts also. If you're talking about the NOI, but with guns, Elijah Muhammad, we can probably find quotes, was not dealing with guns. It was against guns or weapons. So the seed wrote, wow, I never thought about the Bible calling on ancestors. They do when they say God of Jacob, Abraham, etc. So the seed wrote, I must be thinking about another group. Yeah, I think there's some confusion about the groups. Now, Inspired One wrote, your microphone sound is superb, best sounding. Oh, great. That's good to know. I was scared when I saw your microphone. I thought you were going to say microphone is breaking up or something like that. So the seed wrote, two-step. Maybe that is it. Uh, yes, maybe. So the seed, like Clarissa said, was thinking about the not effing around coalition. Okay, now, brothers and sisters, don't nobody want to come and talk directly because I don't mind reading the comments, but this time I have that platform that allows people to join. So directly. Now we have to take advantage. 2020. Let's use the technology at our disposal. But if you don't feel like it, it's okay. Don't feel obliged. Don't feel like you have to, like it's an obligation, like it's mandatory or compulsory. It's optional. So Duma S wrote rebellion. So we rebelled against God that we didn't even heard of until we got European falsehoods. Laughing my AWS off. Garden/Odin with straight hair, white hair gave us kinky hair. NY is fraudulent. So the link was shared. Is commenting on the Shabazz malediction that the Nation of Islam has been teaching for the longest. And besides this kinky hair thing and black people being cursed, they also teach that Africans are living a jungle life, the Africans are not civilized, and so on. Darius wrote, I'm going to try to get online with my laptop to join you. Well, if you are planning on doing it, then by all means try to do it fast because it's midnight right here and I got to go to work tomorrow morning, so I will not stay too long. So the seed wrote, I have to get on my laptop. I'm on my phone, sitting in the car. Oh, Inspired One, he's there. I'm going to add you to the stream.
All right. Hey,
Greetings,
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. You're an elder.
That's right. What you talk about the gray hair?
every time I communicate, I'm, yeah, but just the overall feature. Like every time I'm communicating, for strange reason, I feel like people are my age or
Right.
younger.
No,
I don't usually think people will be
yeah.
older.
No, I've been
Thank you for joining
just
us.
listening to you for a while. I'm just now learning about the African spirituality. And so one of the things I'm
Okay.
doing is I searched YouTube to find people that have common interests. And so that's why,
Hmm.
it's kind of refreshing because I participate in a Bible study. And a lot of
Hmm.
the brothers are older men. And so I'm always hesitant. I brought up Kim at one time, and I'm talking about 60 men. And they're saying, okay, what are you talking about? What is this Kemet you're talking about? And I said, oh my God. Okay, let me just keep my mouth shut and listen. But
Yes.
we got a long ways to go.
Yes. Yes. It's best not to be confrontational
Right,
in a setting where most people believe in the same thing, and they are not necessarily open to learn new things.
right. Exactly. Exactly.
Hmm.
And in fact, I was talking to a gentleman who's doing some research, and he has gone pre-Kemet. And
Hmm.
I'll share as I find out more. I'm talking about he's doing some. I can't what his title is, but he's doing it based on anthropology and astrology. But he's able to go to the period where all the continents were put together all as one, right before they burst apart and floated apart. Do you know what I'm referring to?
Yeah, Pangea.
Yes, yes,
Mm.
exactly. So he said he's been able to find something that that can confirm that a lot of the things that we're talking about, uh, it's on concrete or on stone walls or something.
Mhm. Well, that will be like millions of years ago when the plates were together, and those kind of dates, that dates are way remote for me. I really don't deal with that kind of date, but some people have some say about this time of those kind of time period. But really, that's like millions of years ago.
Right,
But this personally, I'm trying to stick to the actual data that we have available.
right,
And with Kemet, we are so lucky to have all these artifacts full of writings, whether it's a coffin, whether it's a statue, whether it's painting, whether it's the walls in Kemet in the temple, even the pylons. We have the writings on the pylon. We have it all over. So it's just a matter of
right.
us knowing the language, which is the beauty of it.
Yep, good deal.
Mm. All right. So how long did you find out about my YouTube channel?
You know what? I just came across it. I think within the last month. It's been about a month because I'd been
Okay.
seeing things on Anthony Browder, and of course,
Oh.
following John Henry Clark and Francis Cress Welsing and people like that. But a lot of it through Anthony Browder, and then his
All right.
uh, uh, Egypt on the Potomac and how the Freemasons designed Washington D.C. and a lot of the symbolisms of Kemet from the Tekken, the Washington Monument being really uh, to Asar, not to George Washington, and him pointing things out. I don't know if you're familiar with that or not, but it's just kind of opened my eyes to a lot of things.
Yes, yes, I'm a bit familiar with that. But stay with us, hold on. There's RP who has joined us. I'm going to add her to the stream. RP, sister, how you doing?
Salutations. Hotep, how you doing?
Hotel.
How you
I'm doing
doing, Miss
fine.
Byron?
Nice meeting.
Hmm.
Nice to meet you. I just wanted to say hi, really, 'cause I've been watching your channel for a while, and it's really good. It's educational, it's uplifting, and I just really want to support however I can, and I wanted you to get your money's worth out of your StreamYard subscription. So I was like, let me jump on real quick, so 'cause I didn't see anybody else on for a second, but I'm glad somebody got on it.
Yes, thank you very much. And thank you also
Yeah.
for all the donation that you've made in the past. It's really appreciated.
Yeah,
You know,
no problem.
you might want to become. I know it's very mainstream, but you might need to become more controversial to get more views, to get more interest. And it doesn't mean that you need to take any cheap shots, but you might need to start calling out some concepts that get people at least kind of triggered and engaged, so they start calling in and start responding. I mean, staying true to yourself, But if you notice, the people, unfortunately, that get a lot of viewers, that get a lot of subscribers, they tackle things and they're a little cheesy about it, right? They're not as pure, but they, they put topic, is Jesus real, right? Was there really a
Yes.
Jesus? Was
Hmm.
Jesus a myth? And you'll get them. Now you're going to get some trolls,
Hmm.
but you're also going to get some people to go back and forth. Because I tell you, a guy that you might want to. Do you know who Joseph Atwell is? ATW. He wrote the uh, 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 Messiah, Caesar's Messiah, and he's a scholar, and he talks about how the Gospels were basically the Gospels were written by the Flavians, the Josephus, the Herods, and the Alexanders. And so you probably have to look at it on YouTube. It's about an hour and 20 minutes, but he would be a good guy to invite as a guest to basically construct how he says the Bible was created, the four Gospels, and basically they cannot find any historical reference of the man that is described in the four Gospels. Doesn't mean that he didn't exist, like he was just a normal person, but he's very well known. And maybe somebody like that, you invite him on your show, and maybe he'll get people to come to your. Have you looked him up? Do you see him on there?
Well, as you said his name, I looked him up and I saw his book there.
Yeah.
And yes, Joseph Atwell, Atwill, but I wasn't familiar with him. But you are correct. Controversy sells, controversy attracts people, but it's not really the route that I want to take.
Okay.
Because there are many reasons. One of those reasons is because what I stand for and what we stand for, I could say, I cannot speak for everybody, but I feel like most of the people who follow me and who interact with me are more or less like-minded. Just the things that we stand on is already controversial, so to speak. And a lot of people feel offended already when we say that we don't believe in their literature, that we don't believe in their patriarchs. Like saying directly that Jesus didn't exist for Abrahamic believers, Christians and Muslims alike, and of course Jewish Israelites, even though some of them they're not so down with Jesus, but I'm not going to dwell on that. I'm going to be accused of some
Yep.
things,
Yep.
but they take issues at that, great issues. They feel like we're attacking them. That's why most of the
Right.
time I just ask, okay, is there any records? Are there any records? What are the dates and so on? But um, one of the reasons why there's not so many people, for those who don't know, I've had many accounts before, and they were snatched, they were terminated because of people flagging my accounts. It was mainly Asiatic black men, but also some so-called Kemetic people that I was affiliated with in the past. So some people know exactly what I'm talking about, but I don't want to dwell into that too much. But it's growing, that's for sure. The
Yeah.
following is growing, and I have a lot to learn. I have a lot of metadata to learn. I have a lot of books about the Christianity that I want to deal with, and particularly I have a lot of museums that I want to go to, and I'm sure that the people who follow me, they will also grow as I grow, and we'll be able to reach more people slowly but surely, like they say.
Right. Good deal.
Because there's one thing that I really lament a lot. That's the people who are Kemetic, so to speak, but who say real things. And I don't really want to say names. I'm trying to be
Yeah.
diplomatic.
Yeah.
But you have some people who, like, they call themselves linguists. They don't have any degree in linguistics, and they make all kind of weird claims.
Right.
And it's a disservice to us. That's how I feel. I think sometimes it's best not to say anything rather than say things that are inaccurate, because it's a bad look for us. Like Ray Haggins, for example, his performance, even though that was like a decade ago, that was a very bad look. That was a very bad look.
But
And
but but didn't you say he may have been a little bit intimidated with bro? I think it was Wesley Muhammad that he was
what's my name?
debating. You think he was just a little uncomfortable going in on Wesley Muhammad, so he stayed silent, so he didn't feel as grounded because he had the ammunition, as you pointed out, but maybe he kind of held back as opposed to speak his truth.
Hmm. Well, he claimed that he could have put. I don't know. First of all, did you see the video?
I did. I didn't
Oh,
see
that's
the
great.
video, but I think
Oh,
I think you summarize it by basically uh, Wesley Muhammad had some really weak points that could have
Mm,
easily been debunked, but Ray
mhm,
Hagins chose to just kind of either stay silent or kind of
mhm,
just be vague. He
mhm.
talked around it. He didn't go
Yeah.
all in like he could have.
Yes. But I mean, when I say the video, I mean the video of Ray Haggins on stage. Uh,
I did not. I
oh,
did
but
not see that.
just for the record, so people can understand what we're talking about, I'm just gonna share it. But I think that he was yes, maybe intimidated, but really I think he was not prepared. I think he underestimated Wesley Mohammed. I think that
Okay.
he thought he could have just come and say what people usually say. Um, that most of the thing in the Quran comes from the Bible, and the very cliche things. Um, I don't think he was expecting Wesley to talk about this claim of black Arabs with sources, quoting Islamic sources. So a lot of us were not used to that, and so it's a shame because when in his position, him being the leader of an
The
African
African village.
village.
Yeah.
I don't think that he's working full time, so he should have the time. But even if he's working full time, he was paid for that, so he could have, he really should have studied a little bit, and found out what Wesley Muhammad was dealing with in order to address it. And
Yeah.
it was a very very bad look. I mean, it was disastrous because he's known as a doctor now. I don't know what kind of PhD he has. It's
Yeah.
probably theology. It's probably theology, but
Yeah.
it was a bad look. It's like I didn't expect him to do a landslide victory, but I just never expected that he would get on stage and not do anything. It's like 4 feet, you know.
Do you think? Do you think that? Let's fast forward to Nick Cannon, because one of the things I think happened with Nick Cannon is when you have half information and you have half conspiracy theories, but you have a large platform. Nick kind of demonstrated how you can lose your livelihood, or at least temporarily, when he was talking about the Black Hebrews, which is easily debunked if you listen to you and really do your research. But I think Nick got on there and was going on a thread of half truths, right? Because everything has a grain of truth to it. But I think that got him in trouble on that podcast. And I'm thinking like of a Ray Hagins, if you can stand strong and be prepared, maybe somebody that Nick would have picked that up earlier in his life, and he would have realized that, the Black Hebrew, Black Jew, first, that's really been debunked basically. But there's still people that hold that mindset.
Yes, yes, I agree with you, and it's a bit twofold because there is the falsehood, like I've expressed it in the title of my video. And oh, Darius has joined us. Darius is younger. Greetings to you, brother. Please hold the
Greetings,
line,
Jacob.
Darius. Yes. You know what? You look like a friend that I had when I was living in England.
Oh yeah.
But yes, but just bear with us just one moment, Darius, please. Um, so yes, brother, inspired one. So there's the falsehood, the fact that he's claiming some things that are not factual, but the issue of him being accused of anti-Semitism. Um, when you say we are the real Jews or the true Hebrews, that would mean that they are the fake ones, you know.
Right.
And besides, he had a guest who was accused of anti-Semitism in like maybe the 90s with the group Public
Early
Enemy.
90s, Public Enemy, he got kicked out.
Exactly. And he was asked to apologize. He didn't want to apologize, so
Yeah.
he got
Yeah.
kicked out.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, also in that same podcast, Nick Cannon mentioned Farrakhan, and Farrakhan is known for many years of having said things about Jews that are considered anti-Semitic. So it's all of that, really. Um, when you're expressing yourself publicly, you have to think about those things. But indeed, overall, when Nick Cannon was talking, it sounds to me like he was just repeating things that he've heard some scholars or so-called professors speak.
Right.
Professor Griffith is not a professor. That's his
Right.
title. That's his name. But he's not a professor whatsoever.
Excuse me for interrupting. One thing I just
Mm.
thought about when I just joined on and you said elder, one of the things that you should differentiate is between olders and elders. because
Yes.
just because you're old doesn't necessarily make you an elder. And I just thought about this. In a way, Griff unintentionally got Nick in trouble because Griff is a 60-year-old man.
Mm.
And indirectly, he put onto Nick that which impacted himself when he was at Public Enemy. And so Nick lost his employment with Viacom, CBS. Not so much what he said, but I think they're a little twisted about him having Griff on there, plus what he said. So it's almost like Griff could have said, yeah, wait, young brother, I got in trouble doing what you're getting ready to do. Why don't you kind of pump your brakes a little bit and think about it? Instead, it looked like Griff kind of just kept his mouth quiet and let him go on instead of say, hey, oh, I see where you're going with that. Hey, let's talk this offline because I don't want to see you lose your platform because you got a bigger platform than I'll ever have. I don't want to see you because we need a voice like you. And so you can't do like I do. Let's just change the subject. And maybe Nick would have taken that counsel and said, you're right, Griff, let me not go that way. Instead, he just let him go, oh, well, it's your show. Do what you want to do. So you kind of want to say, Griff, did you not see where he was going, where you could have said, hey, well, I know where you're going, brother. Just stop. That's all right. Let's not go there. Let's talk about something else.
And that's the issue. Like you say, it's true. We should not confuse being elder, being and being older. But really, I said elder because obviously you are more mature than me. But it's true. There's a difference between age and wisdom. But
yeah,
it's true. Griff could have said, like you said, I know where you're going. Can get into trouble. Let's talk about something else. Or you know what I've been through. I don't want to go through the same thing again. And that's just a shame. But Griff, that video that I'm planning on uploading, when he was throwing shade at John Henry Clark, I took the time to let people hear some claims that he was making an analogy with a movie, and he was even wrong with the movie title. But I mean, Griff has been all over the place, really. When he is talking sideways about John Henry Clark, he says, I'm not an African. I don't consider myself an African. I'm a black man. And he said, Africa is a landmass, but he's cool with the title Asiatic black man, but Asia is a landmass as well. But in the video, anyway, I've put a few texts, but I mean, a lot of people like Professor Griff because he was part of the group Public Enemy.
Right, Public Enemy.
Yeah. That's the thing. But when it comes to teaching history or Black history, be cautious of Asiatic black men.
Here's the other thing I'll say: you can be right 90% of the time, but that 10% is that would get you in trouble. So I'm going to say a lot of what Griff says, there's a grain of truth to it, but it's bundled up with a lot of half-truths and speculations and just controversial statements. And it's in a way, you kind of want to say, and I'm going to, what's Dr. Ben? Dr. Ben's real full name. What's his full name?
Dr. Yosef Ben Yochanan.
Okay. So the thing that I think is in the dominant society is they over police and over analyze our leaders. And I know that there's some controversies of Dr. Ben and his titles and what maybe but you know what? Here's the thing. As they say, you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. That's a deflection. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether he has it or not. The things that he's saying is true. So I don't care if he says he's from Pluto and he's a man from Mars. You don't discard the other parts that are absolutely true. And I think the dominant society has a tendency to focus on the things that are can be compromised, can be confirmed as an outright lie. And oh, he lied about that. He doesn't have a PhD. He doesn't have it doesn't matter. The other stuff is all true. So you're trying to, as they say in cancel culture, right? You want to cancel everything because the man says he's from the moon. What difference does it make? Everything else he's saying is true. So you don't want to listen to anything else because, okay, whatever the controversies are about him, that you can't track his resources or you don't know where he gets his information, but he's telling the truth. And so I think the same with Griff. He's telling some truths, but yeah, that other stuff, we just got to let it go.
And
can
brother,
I ask you guys a question?
Yes, feel free.
What was the show? I mean, was it like a show or something that Griff was on that he had him on? Was it like Griff has his own show or something?
I watched the whole thing about maybe a week or two ago. I think it was June 26th. It's unfortunate that Nick had to take it down as part of his trying to get back into the good graces of CBS. But it's basically two woke brothers, relative, right, going back and forth, dropping knowledge and putting out some conspiracy theories. But at the same time, I'd say 80 to 90% of it is spot on. The 20% is what they're focusing on. He talks about them coming from caves and the
Oh,
melanin,
yes, yes.
things that he wasn't qualified to talk about. But there is science. He should have had someone, or he should have referenced a scientist that can talk about the impact of melanin on your body. That is documented. But Nick had half information. And so he's making them out like animals and monsters and saying that our melanin makes us better. Okay, that's the big picture, ambiguous, but the bottom line is melanin does make you different. But Nick, that's not your lane. You shouldn't be talking about science and chemistry and melanin. You're talking, you know what I'm saying, Shock? He's saying the truth, but he doesn't have the facts to really articulate how melanin impacts our bodies and your thinking.
Don't you guys think that this is a part of a bigger issue within I want to say like within the African American culture, where we place a little bit too much responsibility on people who are entertainers? We expect them to be scientists, we expect them to be tacticians, we expect them to be scholars, but they're really just entertainers who are wearing a hat at a given time, you know?
There's a term that where there's a leadership will fill a void where there's no leadership. So I'm going to blame Shaka, you, and me for letting the Knicks, the Dr. Dre's, the Snoop Dogs. Shaka, why are you more knowledgeable than them and you don't have the platform that they have? Why can Beyonce and Cardi B and Nicki Minaj have more subscribers than you, Shaka? I'm joking, but why can they have more influence on our culture with the big butt and all that kind of stuff, and you don't have that impact? Why? Why is it that they get a bigger platform? I'll wait for your answer. Why?
That's the machine that they have behind them. They have $1 million or maybe $1 billion industry. That's definitely $1 billion industry. But each of them are either signed, or even if they claim to be independent, they have some deals with some record labels or a distribution that have millions of dollars behind them, and they go in pairs with the different media, being the radio, the TV, the internet. So that's some of the reason, And
well, I will say this, and you may already know. There's a guy named Lincoln Monroe Perry, and if you look him up, you'll see how he was. He was the first Black millionaire. I'm gonna let Chaka find out who Lincoln Monroe Perry is, and his head's gonna explode once he realizes who he is. I'll wait, and then I'll tell you why. There's a Cardi B, there's a Nicki Minaj, there's all of that, the Dr. Dre. And to your question, brother, why is it that we look to entertainers? And Chaka's getting ready to find out the reason why when he looks up who this man was. I'll tell you who he is if you don't find it eventually.
Is it Stepin Fetchit?
There you go.
What?
That's
Okay.
him. That's our boy.
Okay.
That's our boy.
I didn't know him, but I will look it up. I have a little tab
He
on
made his
there.
money denigrating Black people. He was what they called the lazy, shiftless, stupid, ignorant Black man. And he would scratch his head, and they always showed white people in positions of dominance, and they would bring him in, and he was basically shuffling and shiftless. His moniker that they used was the laziest man in the world, and he made millions of dollars. And it's unfortunate that our rap guys don't look at Stepin Fetchit and say, wait a minute, Lil Wayne is our modern day Stepin Fetchit. But Shaka, he got $500 million, and Shaka's trying to get him to some museum to teach us something. And Lil Wayne is drinking syrup, right? And turning up and saying he don't believe racism is bad. And the white folks say, here's another $1 million. So to your question, brother, that's why. Because
that's what, yeah. That's
Go ahead,
what
Doug.
ownership, though. Ownership gives people the choice to push narratives, and we really do have to work on that ownership part. And past owning a channel or that kind of thing, we need to own actual production companies and become parts of the ruling class of these media giants. Once we can do that, then we can kind of
Well,
push narratives that benefit us as well.
You're already ahead, because I tell this to people all the time. As a baby boomer, I apologize to guys like you that I know. And they said, what are you talking about? I said, because if we would have done what we should have done in the 60s and 70s with integration, why would you have the need for Black Lives Matter? Why would, if we did what Dr. King said and taken it to another level, why do we need Black Lives? Why are you still seeing police go through our communities and devastate us if we supposedly have overcome, right? Why are y'all having to, why is there even a need for a Shaka or Tariq Nasheed or Professor Black Truth or Jason Black? Why do we need them if we would have taken care of business in the 60s and 70s? Why?
It's so many issues that the baby boomer generation was facing too, though. I mean, you had COINTELPRO, you had J. Edgar
but we were
Hoover
about
on
the
your
money.
tails, you had all types of stuff.
Yeah, but they taught us if we sat next to white folks and worked for these big corporations, got the Rolex watch, got the BMW, you're good. You're good. And as you know, that don't work. And even
that's not ownership.
And even to our beloved past president, I like Obama, but he's getting his money now with Netflix, he and Michelle, and look where we are. And he is silent. He is silent. But Netflix has probably paid them probably $200 or $300 million. It's documented. I mean, they're a lovely couple. They're great people. But why are we post Obama going through Black Lives Matter? Why don't we have some type of answer? Why are you having young people out in the streets when we should have been out in the streets in force so that y'all wouldn't have to be out in the streets? Now I'll pull a hamstring now if I'm out there. I can't do that. But why are y'all doing it? Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, sorry, I got disconnected. The thing we have to realize, or we should realize, is that we got so many things going on at one time. Like, it's hard to say what we should have done when there is, like, Darius, and how are you doing? Like Darius said, like, we dealing with an enemy that has set out a multiplicity of mental, physical, spiritual, ecological traps. Like, how in the world, there's no right answer and there's no wrong answer, really, because we're under an occupation, and the occupation is going to materialize itself in every manner necessary to reestablish and maintain itself. So for the baby boomers, the answer was be like them. For the generation before,
Right.
or, concurrent, it might have been, well, we need to fight the power. Now we have a group of people that don't know what to do at all except protest and maybe even destroy things, because we've tried joining in, that didn't work. Tried protesting peacefully, that didn't work. We've tried running for Congress. We've tried even expatriating to certain degrees, and that didn't work. So we're seeing acts of desperation now.
Well, but you know what? To interrupt just a minute, let me tell you, you're absolutely right. But here's the thing: we can do more than one thing at one time. And here's the perfect thing. If you're in touch with the universe and how God speaks to our ancestors through the universe, right? How unlikely is it that you'd have a pandemic, global economic collapse, you've got a president out of control, and you've got people unemployed? You've got the perfect confluence of things where somebody like you, Shaka, this is like the portal has opened and the opportunity is there. You've never seen this many white people in collaboration with Black people. They even have these memes out here now. They call them Karens. Have you seen these things?
Yes.
They call them
Can
you
yes.
imagine?
Oh, yes.
That's the
hey,
new
Karen's catching hell right now,
That's the new N-word. If you call a white woman a Karen, that's like calling a Black person the N-word. But other white people are joining in calling people Karen. So this is the time where we've got collaboration. There are white people that voted for Trump that come to me and say, you know what, man, you were right. He's crazy. So you strike while the iron is hot. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I suspect those white people are practicing racism through deceit, because they how you gonna vote for Trump and then go to a person, a non-white person, and then say, oh yeah, you were right. These people are just putting on, as they say, the Ritz. They're not
Some,
ready to end
some
white
might,
supremacy.
some
They're
might,
not
some
trying
might.
to end their position. They wanted to stay peaceful because they don't want to lose their stocks, bonds, and their houses. But they're not
You're
ready to
right.
give up white supremacy.
There's a portion, but there are a portion, to your point, though, that may be 90%, but you only need 2, 3, 4, 5% that really sincerely get sick to their stomach about it. Don't take a lot. You don't need all of them. It doesn't matter. In fact, there's a thing that they talk about as it relates to African spirituality. It's like if you practice the 7 principles of Ma'at, right? The whole thing is if you can get everyone to collaborate, you only need a fraction, and they exponentially, because racism will never go away. But what will come is if you get more people awake, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, you only need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5%. They will cancel out the ones that you're referring to that are being deceitful. Because there are some white folks, some Asian folks that they really are sick of this. They're not.
Hey,
Why would they speak up and risk their position unless they
yep.
see enough uh, momentum to jump onto his website and to jump on your live stream and say, "Hey, look, I'm going to help finance you to that museum because I'm tired of what I see."
So, what were you gonna say, Darius? I'm a
Oh,
remember. You were gonna say something.
all good. I was just gonna say that with social media kind of just coming into its own, I think as time goes on and social media matures, we're gonna see people like Shaka become so much more popular, and it's really gonna revolutionize. I believe that the next big revolution for humankind is the social revolution.
Yeah, yeah,
Kind of like the revolution of the mind and how we relate to those around us.
yeah,
And I think with social media, we're going to see all of these things really come to fruition. I really do think social media is huge with the formation of Black Lives Matter, and
yeah.
it's kind of helped decentralize a little bit of our, when we go on marches and things like that. It helped decentralize it a little bit, so which is advantageous to us because it's not one person to attack
Right.
to kill Black Lives Matter. It's a million people working
Yeah.
in tandem,
Well,
and it helps deflect a little bit of that. I think it's a
the
good thing.
other
I think social media will help.
I want to tell a quick story. And this is a story about a so-called ally, and we were having a whole debate about racism, whatever. And he got to the point we kind of was smelling each other's scent, in other words. And I'm unapologetically African, even though I'm in America. But I'm an African person. I know that, and I exclaim that. And I suspect he's not only a racist but a race soldier because he was wearing some things on his clothes that let everybody know really if you were paying attention he's capable of committing physical harm. So we got to a point where he said, "Well, what's the answer to white supremacy and racism and all that?" I said, the answer really, which you probably know, sir, is you and your friends and your family go back to Europe. That's where you from. Y'all like it so much. You wanted to stay white. Go back there, put everything you own in a bag and leave it. And let
can
us
I?
figure out what we're going to do with it. And you know what he said? He was like, well, why? Like, what are y'all going to do? I was like, I just said, that's not your business. And the reason why I said that is because white people are going to showcase themselves to look like their allies. They're going to showcase themselves, even maybe catching the L, taking the butt whooping to so-called help us out. But again, these people, 500 years of evidence has shown they ain't ready to give up nothing. They ain't changing their behavior. If anything, they're being more aggressive and they're about to jump planets with the mess. So a channel like My Aunt Forever, and I also subscribe to Neely Fuller Jr.'s Compensatory Code. I have his book. We need to get on code. We need to look back and find out who we were with Kemet, with West Africa, whatever. And then we need to
Let,
go forward, but we need to go forward with a code and realize that white people play mental games first, and they're always going to do it. And then when that don't work, they're going to go to other mechanisms such
so
as direct violence. But we ain't got no friends in white people. I'm
so
sorry,
so
that's just me.
let me soften that a little bit because this channel is called Ma'at Forever, right? So if you follow the 7 principles of Ma'at, right? Trust, justice, truth, justice, harmony, balance, order, propriety, reciprocity, right? If you stay with those 7 principles in a gentle way, my sister, think about where you may have thrown off on those principles talking to that gentleman, because where I'm going is we got to collaborate with everybody. Everybody. Hear me out. If you stay true to Ma'at, you can have white, Hispanic, Black, Jew, Catholic, Baptist, atheist, if you practice Ma'at, because we can't do this by ourselves. We can't let them go back. Here's the sad truth. They played us. They kidnapped us. They made us work for free, and we built this country. We built it on the foundation and the architecture and the plan that they came up with. As much as we may not like them, white folks created this thing, and the only way we're gonna work it is work it together. Find the few allies. It may only be 1 out of 100. It may, I know, but you gotta stay centered with Ma'at, because it only may be 1 out of 100. It may be just
But
one.
you can't practice Ma'at with people that practice Europeanism. They practice egocentricity. It don't match. We're dealing with sociopaths. We're dealing with psychopaths.
Look, back
you
in
think
Kemet,
you can reason with a psychopath?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I think
you can use
with
it
that
against
said,
them.
I don't know how far we're gonna get.
You can use it against them. Remember, there's
okay. Use it against them is different than working with.
Well, but it depends on your definition of working with. I'm saying even the most egregious racists can be helpful in our cause. If anything, like Trump, to demonstrate his idiocracy, to show people, look at this animal up here. That's the president. Now, do you see what we're talking about? Well, Shaka, now I see what you're talking about. It may just be one vote that makes a difference. So you can't throw them all out because they built this thing.
So you saying if there's one person that, let's use the example you just elucidated. One person that throws off the elections this November and Donald Trump don't get in office. Now we got Joe Biden, another racist. We can't, that ain't gonna work.
I'm not talking about the election. I'm
just saying, you was talking about, you said something about voting, so I was expanding on it.
Here's the thing. It doesn't matter if Trump is president if you believe in Ma'at, because the universe guides our steps through our ancestors and God, right? There are no accidents. This stuff ain't happening by accident. The world is unraveling like it's supposed to be. There's a lesson here. I don't know what it is. Shaka doesn't know what it is. He's not a mind reader, but you know what? If you truly believe in Ma'at and the unseen presence of the creator, and you believe that your ancestors are ordering your steps, just like this conversation that we're having right now, this ain't no accident. So the fact that this world is unraveling with the pandemic, economic collapse, global just chaos, streets burning, does this not sound like something that our ancestors said, okay, Shaka, I'm going to let you get 4 people on here and we're going to talk. It's going to give you some ideas. I can see his head turning right now. There's some things percolating. Maybe it's giving him some ideas. But the other thing is we cannot have this savior complex. We all got to reach the God within us, right? The small G, because I'm not going to ask, we didn't think about him. What can you do? What can I do? What can he do? He's just one person. But collectively, right? Collectively, that's how we do it. It don't matter if Trump is president. It don't matter if Biden is president. It don't matter if Mickey Mouse is president. If you really believe the president of the United States orders your steps and guides your thoughts and controls your heart, that's not true.
I'm just saying, we had allies, and we still in a system of worldwide global racism, white supremacy.
Don't matter. We are survivors. If you believe what they call in business, they call it SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. You know what our strengths are as a people? Now, I know this is to your brother. It's athletics, it's entertainment. Those are our social warriors. Those are the people that white folks look up to. They look up to Michael Jordan. They look up to LeBron James. Unfortunately, Lil Wayne, Dr. Dre, So if you can get one of them brothers woke to the point like Nick Cannon, so he's not out there by himself, that's all you need. You need some people that the white folks will follow, right or wrong, for the wrong reasons, and leverage their abilities to finance and help us see what we need to see. I'm not saying that they should be the ones, but I'm just telling you who they follow. They love Michael Jordan.
Okay, we did that with Booker T, W.B. Du Bois, Frederick Douglass. We could go on and on. We've had ambassadors. We've had ambassadors, and we still where we at. White people do not look up to entertainers and athletes. They are comforted by them because they know that they still maintain their powerful position in the system they created. So please, I would suggest not saying that they look up to them. They don't look up to anybody. They control even them.
Michael Jordan is a billionaire and an owner of an NBA team. However you may view him, that is economic power. If we get more and more economic empowerment, then we can support Shaka and people like that. So he doesn't have to.
You know, he got that at the behest of people in control of corporations that says, yes, we're going to allow you. He didn't just get that from trying. That wasn't meritorious.
Are you totally wiping out the concept of Ma'at and God and the creator and the
universe? No, I'm not wiping out the concept of Ma'at. I'm wiping out the concept of continuing to try to negotiate with demonic people. Well, we can practice Ma'at. We don't need to practice Ma'at with white folks. That's dumb. It's not happening. They've shown us it ain't working. That don't work.
Well, can I chime in a second?
Yeah.
Oh, and can I ask you guys, am I really loud? I know I have a really loud voice.
You are a bit loud. Yes.
Okay, maybe let me back up there.
Yes.
Well, hey, we as a people, we are a multifaceted people. We're capable of operating different strategies concurrently. We can appeal to getting allies from other sides, allies from the whites, allies from Asians, whoever wants to be our ally, we can do that. But I think we can also achieve what you want to do as well, RP. We can really start to do something new. Since we've tried all these things before, we can keep going with them on one front, and then we can take a new approach on another. We can do that. Like, say, for instance, me and the strategies that I've thought through to really put in play that I think will help us liberate ourselves in the future is, number one, we have to kind of get our homeland together. I think, once we can get the African continent as a whole, more in control of their resources, when we can make them a little bit more secure, more up to date with technology. Once we have a strong homeland, then we can kind of separate ourselves at least a little bit from America. We won't need allies in America. It's good to have allies in America, but we won't need them.
This is my attempt.
I think you said it right there.
This is my attempt at humor. So bear with me. I have a strange sense of humor, but I'm reading your body language, sister, and you're like, you ain't having it. You're not having it. Your body language is saying, nope, I ain't gonna agree. But here's where I'm going.
Okay. I was just gonna tell you. I'll answer that. Yeah.
Here's what I'm saying. We can't do it by ourselves. We can't. We built this. It's almost like if I build the car, I built this car, and now you want me to leave it and go ride a horse, and I built this car? Oh, heck to the no. And
but if you built a really good car and you built it, you can build a better one on your own. We can build our own.
Don't do it, but don't tell me to abandon the. We built this country.
Sure.
And you're gonna tell me to go back to Africa? First of all,
I put it like this: if the house on fire, you gonna stay in it? If the house is on fire, you gonna stay in it because you built it?
Listen, the Africa that y'all think you're going back to is nothing like the Africa they kidnapped us from. Those folks in Africa
you're right.
Just as confused in tribalism with British, Chinese, Russian. Shaka knows there's so many countries that have colonized Africa as we speak. The British. You think you're gonna go back to Nigeria? The thing that we came from in Nigeria wasn't even called Nigeria. The language they speak, they would not even, there's no place where you would call home over there because we are so much a part of different. I did the ancestry.com. I got Congo, British, German.
But
I'm
but you
home.
know, and you know, to blend what you're saying with what RP is saying is that you know, I think us making big changes in Africa and us bringing Africa into the future, that's gonna take some time. That's more of like a long game, long strategic approach. I think, you know, utilizing our allies here, uh, making things as best as we can here, and other places in the diaspora with Shaka in France and abroad,
Yeah.
we can really make things as best we can in those areas, you know. But I think it's wise to have a long game, you know, a strategy for the
Nothing
future
wrong with that.
in
Yeah.
hand, you know. And we all
But
don't have to go back to Africa to do that. We can strengthen Africa and still be
yeah,
here, you know.
yeah.
I apologize if I came across
No,
crass.
your passion shows. It does.
You know, so I can tell you, I'll be upfront about as upfront as appropriate for the public sphere. I've had a lot of interaction with these people through military experience. I'm from the South, and then I ended up moving up north because of Hurricane Katrina. So I experienced a different form of white supremacy I never thought would even exist in the so-called North. And then thereafter in these school systems, I am literally watching children be mistreated by teachers, paraprofessionals, principals, nurses, doctors, whatever. And then we still have the macro going on outside the micro. Hello. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, that's why I defy against allyship because, and I'm direct with people who classify themselves as white. I said, okay, well, why do you call yourself white? And I challenge that, or I'll say, so, you know, what are you doing to help end white supremacy? Because it's an imbalance between people, which is what my art is also about, making sure there's balance, you know. And a lot of these so-called people that say they are on our side they don't have nothing to say when it comes to that. And they also don't have nothing to say when I ask them, what are you willing to give up? What material comfort are you willing to give up of substance for the rest of your life to balance this out so there's an end of white supremacy? I had somebody tell me she was willing to give up her space heater. These people ain't serious in my opinion, but I
So
will say this. We do have to try everything we think we can try because we are in a hostile environment no matter where we go because of how long it's been happening. So I'm going to go with you there. I'm going to
yeah.
also leave it to y'all, the people that feel comfortable dealing with people who call themselves white. Me, and I'm sure there's other people on here that would agree, me, I'm a minimized contact. They've shown their scales too much to me. But I
So
don't mean no
let,
disrespect with my body language.
let
So
me say
that's
this.
what that was about.
First of all, I am sorry that you went through what you went through because nobody can walk in your steps or walk your journey. So I am sorry that happened to you because you are speaking your truth just like we all are. But here's the other thing. When you're open to knowledge, right? One of the things you'll realize is it takes all of us. It needs your story, it needs Shaka's story, it needs his story, and collectively. But one thing, and like I said, I'm still learning this too, but one of the things that I think is part of African spirituality is the God that we worship to is inside of us, and that we are connected to the greater God, but it's each individual that makes the change. And so whenever you look outside of yourself for some change to occur to make your life better, you have abdicated the power that the universe has given to us through our ancestors and through God. It's saying that the change that you want to make isn't from asking somebody to give up their space heater. It's what you do to manifest so that you go out and make the change. I'm not trying to talk googly gop. What I'm saying is when you talk about power, no, power does not respect power. Or excuse me, power only respects power. Power doesn't respect weakness. When you tell somebody, well, what are you going to do to make white supremacy better? It's not what are they going to do? What are we going to do to make ourselves stronger, right? Like when you go to the gym and work out, you don't ask, well, if I put 2 pounds on the bench and lift it 1,000 times, you ain't done nothing. The only way you're going to grow is put 225 on there and pump it 10 times. So you don't ask the weight to be lighter. You ask it to be stronger so you can overcome it. You are experiencing these white folks to make you stronger so that you can have your story. You're not to eliminate them. It's not going to benefit you. You don't want an easy path. You want the strength, which hopefully you're getting through African spirituality, right? So you want to be stronger.
Well, the reason I asked that is because they caused the problem. So I
No,
do that for epistemological reasons, and then I
doesn't
also
matter.
do it. You know, I do it because I study this. I study it like a pathology because it is.
Yeah.
But I'm also saying this. For me, I'm agreeing with the latter part. Yes, absolutely. We have to work on ourselves because it's obvious other people aren't working on themselves to live in harmony with us. So if for me, I'm gonna focus on my art. I'm gonna focus on, hey, how you doing? I'm gonna focus on doing what's best for me and
Think
people
of
who
it. Think of it as a
identify
football
with
game.
me instead of saying, let me look for some more allies because,
Think
so
of it.
I'm agreeing with you.
Oh yeah, no, but think of it as an American football game, right? Offense and defense, right? When you're playing a football game, you don't say, Coach, they're tackling me too hard and it's their fault. They won't let me run a touchdown. You have got to overcome. It's like you don't have a choice. It doesn't matter who started the fight. You've got to come and get your peace. Not saying victory, find peace and joy, not happiness, peace. Peace might mean to peacefully coexist with a blatant white supremacist. It might mean having your next door neighbor hate black people, but for some reason you're able to leverage his hatred towards black folks to further your agenda, to make yourself better, to get your daughter or son in that private school that you've always wanted to get them to. But the guy who is hiring is your racist neighbor. So you bring him over some candy or some sugar and you're nice to him and you know he don't like you, but he does end up kind of halfway like you and he accepts. So you leverage people, right? And you try to make the best of it. You don't give up, but you
Yeah.
say, hey, I'll let y'all figure that out. We need all hands on deck.
Oh, well, you know what? What you just described is actually the compensatory code. It's part of it because people in a better position than you are supposed to be compensatory to make the difference between something you need and don't have and get you as close to it as possible. And if you don't fully get what you were looking for, then you compensate for the difference. So, I mean, yeah, I agree with that because it makes absolute sense logically, numerically. It's just the other part as far as like I don't go out of my way to socialize. I don't go out of I'll be honest, I don't have any friends. If you call yourself white, you're not my friend.
So let me jump
Mm-hmm.
in real quick and help you. And it's just me. Don't say I'm telling you what to do. You are entitled to your opinion. But there's
No, I'm
also
not.
it's all about energy. And Shaka, I don't know Shaka, but I'm thinking he understands where I'm trying to go. Is when I have been
I
around
don't, I
people
don't, I
who have
don't agree.
positive.
However, but
I've been around people who have positive energy. And when you have positive energy, it lights up a room. And when you give off negative energy, it draws negative things too. So when you say things like, I hate, I don't, I'll never, the universe listens to you. It says, oh, okay. And it gives you more of what you don't want. It's like, I hate white people. I don't ever want to be around them. I'll never work with them. I'll never do this. And you are blocking
nobody
your
says
blessing.
that.
I'm
No,
sorry.
I'm not saying never. I'm just saying with intention I only associate casually and professionally with people who are not white. Do I have to interact with people that are white? Absolutely. But I'm not inviting them to my house to cook out. I'm not, having conversations on the street. I'm saying that, again, we compensate or we get what we need from people who are in a position of power. Absolutely. But again, to your point you made as well, we focus on self focus on, like what Darius said, we go back to the continent as much as possible, get these foreigners out, build it up, get these alliances going with African people, and then, because like somebody else was saying, I can't remember who it is, a lot of the people in America who are not white that are able to make some traction have a home country to back them up, and African Americans don't. So we have to reestablish those ties. So instead of me looking for an ally with a so-called white person, I'd rather find an ally with somebody on the continent and make progress that way, or continue to build myself up with non-white Black people in America. I'm not going to keep asking people who told me over and over again with a smile or with a fist and a gun that they're not on my side, because after a while, that's just insanity.
Well,
Hey,
but
and
see,
to add, if I could add a little bit to what you were saying, one good thing to look at as well is from a personally beneficial standpoint. Like, for instance, investing in land and infrastructure in, say, Ghana or Nigeria, that can actually turn out some pretty good returns for you. And the land over
that's
there
all
is
good.
relatively cheap.
That's all good. That's all good.
Yeah,
And I guess what
it's
I'm
a lot of
saying
good
is,
things that can come
you
from investing in our homeland. And we
so
don't
I'm just
necessarily have to give up America to do that,
yeah, and I'm making a joke, and once again I'm being sarcastic. I'm trying to be lighthearted here, but we've done so much over here to build this country. All of what you say is true. You should be more global, but at the
We've done
same
enough.
time, this is our birthright. America. Now, Shaka is in France, but I'm saying in America, this is our birthright, and so I'm not going to let somebody talk me out of my birthright. And so when you say it's insanity to keep, I'm not saying beat your head against the wall with you. You'll know who your allies are when you have more trust in yourself, and you have discernment. You know when somebody is an outright racist and wants to harm you. I'm not saying walk blindly into somebody's arms and get killed, but I'm also saying you will be surprised at the white folks that are allies that don't speak up, but are just watching you from the cut, just watching your moves, seeing how you move. What is this Mayat? What's this thing called Kemet? Wow, that's a cool sister. And sure enough, you find an ally that you didn't even know, and they say, hey, look, I'm an evangelical Christian. If I came out and said I supported you, I'd lose my whole inheritance. But here's a little something, something to go with your cause. I believe in what you're doing, but I'm too invested in this other life. God bless you. Go and multiply. You would be surprised the people that we allies that maybe not come to your forefront. But I get it. You're and can I ask, do you have a husband, kids, and things like that?
Yeah, I'm actually divorced, but I have
Okay.
a partner long term.
Oh,
I
okay.
have a child.
Okay. I was just,
Oh wait, real quick. Along with my aunt, I think something else that non-white people could really get into and benefit from is 48 Laws of Power, because that's really taught me about how to interact when I do have to interact
sure.
with the people who are not on our side, in order to fully even better practice my art. Because if I'm starting to see these characteristics that I've read about in this book, then I know, like you said, how to angle it the way I need it to go. But we really we got to fine tune. We can practice my, but we really still got to fine tune it better for the environment we're in.
I don't think our ancestors put something together that doesn't apply today. And what I mean is, I have read the 48 Laws of Power. I've also read the leadership principles of Attila the Hun. I've also read Sun Tzu, The Art of War. And I'm telling you, and Machiavelli, those are not good books that are in alignment with Ma'at. They're about domination, control. It's but you know what? Ma'at isn't about that. It ain't about dominating and killing people and destroying them and manipulation and it's not.
Right. I'm saying I'm gonna tell you again. I study them like a pathology. I don't want to do what they do, but I want to know what they do. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
It's the same as Sankofa. If I study myself and go backward, I can go forward. If I study to my left and my right as well, I can go forward with more knowledge. And that's why I'm advocating for that book to be studied as well. Because you can practice my art all you want, but they don't practice that. They practice these 48 laws and whatever other laws they come up with.
And hey, if I could add into that, you said something really cool. because you said to study them so you can know them. And you were speaking about Sun Tzu. He had a very, very interesting precept in the art of war. He said, if you know your enemy and you know yourself, you can go into battle 1,000 times and you'll win every one.
Yep. No, they're all good to know. I was saying I've discovered Ma'at and African spirituality late in life. And the more I read about it, the more I realize our ancestors had it right. That our steps are being ordered by our ancestors and through the universe. And going toe to toe, you might win a few battles, but in the end, they will vanquish us. So that's why I'm saying Ma'at trumps all of the art of war, the 48 laws of power, if it's applied the right way. If you do it the right way, it really is superior, because what it means is you look for balance, you look for order, reciprocity, propriety, trust, honor, right? If you do all that, you're good. And it don't matter who's the president. It don't matter what they do. Because if you practice it and you can get enough people actualized to join forces with you, we're all practicing together, you don't have to get up there, and you can't, the machine is too big and the system is too, it's been here for 500 years. You're not going to dismantle it with the 48 laws of power. Is so dangerous. If you know this, they have outlawed that book in prisons. They will not let prisoners read the 48 laws of power. Look it up, because it will allow you to manipulate people and get the upper hand. And they were fearful that the prisoners would use the 48 laws of power to gain an advantage over the prison industrial complex. I'm sorry, Chaka, go ahead.
No, that's okay. That's okay. But it's clear that there's a difference in approach there, and I understand where you're coming from. And just like the brother Duma said, it's not everybody that will go to Africa. Some people want to stay in America or other parts of the world, and Europe and different parts. And of course, not everybody will go back to the motherland. But those are the kind of things that are very necessary. I don't, and it's like that, I guess, with everybody. I don't agree with everything you said, just like probably there's some things that I say you don't agree with, but nobody's talking about eliminating such and such people. And at one point you said we can't do without them. We can't do without them. I don't really feel the same way. I think by ourselves, there's so much that we can do. There's one example. Back when I was in England, so that's a decade ago, there's this newspaper. Um, about the black world. It's a weekly newspaper, and they were talking about some African Americans that moved to Israel. And at some point, Whitney Houston, she went there to visit them. She was maybe a member of their group. Now I don't really remember the names, but if people look it up online, they might see them. And this community of African Americans who consider themselves Jewish or Hebrew Israelites, they decided to move over there in line with their faith and so on. And they were explaining how when they moved there at first, they were mistreated a lot. They were isolated. But over time, since they were there and the years passed, then they ended up being tolerated. So we have some African Americans who went into a land, and we know the situation in Israel, the situation with the place that was known as Palestine, and how it was basically taken over after the Second World War, the issue of Zionism, and they are not necessarily the most um, Negrophiles. There's a lot of racism going on over there, not only towards Palestinians, but even black people, but they still manage to live over there. So if we have some endeavor to go to the motherland, and actually it's been done. There's a brother, Dr. Kambo. He got his PhD a while back. He's living over there in Ghana. And so those are things that have been done and that can be done. And those who want to say, wherever they want to say, they can stay there. Ma'at, of course, is about good principles and so on. But if we look at the history, our ancestors in Kemet, when they were being attacked, they used to defend themselves. So I think it's a matter of different approach, really. I think we have the same goals, more or less, but our approach are different.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, that's to be you know, that's to be expected. And, you know, all of us here are basically trying to solve the same problem. And I'm just glad for that because, you know, we have people that are so confused that, you know, they jumping into the Republican Party or they're adhering stronger to the Bible, you know, and just saying, well, this was in Revelations, you know, that this was supposed to happen like this. And, you know, some people just have totally tuned out because they can't
But
handle it at all. So I'm just glad that we have like a circle here of people that recognize we got to do something at least. I'm
let,
appreciative for that.
let me give you an example of what you're saying, and I'll use it with food. All my life, I've eaten a horrible diet, and the last 3 years, I've converted to veganism. And I've started fasting at least 3 to 5 days, pure water, at least every other month. And one of the things I've realized is when you tell people to not eat meat and dairy, it's the same as the people who believe. And I had a gentleman, an older gentleman, who told me I was talking about Kemet and Asar, Aset, and Heru, and he asked me if I believe in God, and he said, "Well, the Bible says that Adam and Eve were in the Garden of Eden, and God created Adam by taking his rib." And he said, and you can even tell that a man has one less rib because God used it to create a woman. Now, you and I know that that did not happen, but he is a 50-year-old man that told that story to me, and he's sticking to it. And anybody that sells him any different, he's not listening. So it's almost like veganism. When you tell people that eating meat and dairy is not healthy, it's the same with telling people about Ma'at, the 42 principles, Asar, Aset, Heru. So you got to be careful how you introduce it because you can turn them off by saying, "I can't believe you believe in the Bible." No, 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 no. You're going to lose them. You got to go where they are. So you can't tell them that the Bible, the four Gospels, were made up during the Flavian dynasty with the Herods, the Alexanders, and Josephus. You can't tell them
Right.
that. You can't tell
Can
them
I tell
that.
you a quick story? I'm smiling because I had a friend that went to the a museum dedicated to Noah's Ark, and in this in this museum, I can't make this up. I
Yeah.
still got the pictures on my drive because he was like, "Can I upload the pictures?" I'm like, "Sure, sure, sure." So we going through it. In a section of the ark, these people had two pterodactyls. Mind you, people who don't believe in, or people who believe in the Bible fully, don't believe in dinosaurs at all.
Right.
So I see these pterodactyls, and I'm like, what's that? And he's like, you know, there was the prehistoric animals during Noah's time. I said, you know, those are dinosaurs, right? He's like, no. See, there you go again. You always trying to debunk the Bible. I'm like, those are dinosaurs. I'm not. I'm like, look it up
Yeah.
on Google real quick, a pterodactyl. And
Yeah.
that's how far gone some people are. Like, I got
Yeah.
you. I don't even come at people. If they tell me they're Christian, I don't
Yeah.
even much come at them with commit or nothing like that. I say,
Right.
hey, however God communicates with you, God communicates with you.
That's
Just
right.
don't go biting off your own, you know how they say, your own nose despite your face. Don't cut off.
Right.
Don't do
Well,
something contradictory to yourself.
here's the thing you're up against, and that's why you have to be. You got to walk softly but carry a big stick, right? The Christianity is a multi-billion dollar, billions and billions of dollars. And so with that much money, you are not going to upset that apple cart with the truth. It's just too much at stake. It's just too much at stake.
Hey, I saw a funny meme today, which goes along with what you were saying about Noah's Ark. It was a meme that said, "So you're telling me that I'm supposed to believe that Noah put two bed bugs and two mosquitoes on the Noah's Ark?" The meme was hilarious, man. I thought that
Yeah.
was so funny.
Well,
Flies too, and I hate
but you,
flies. Why he did that to us?
but the other
Right?
thing is there are things, if you know where to look on the internet, and I know you guys are sharp enough to know, but there are so many biblical scholars, men who have studied for 30, 40, 50 years, and they all get to the same conclusion different ways. But here's what they come up with. They can't find Jesus.
Yeah.
They can't find historical Jesus. They can't find him. They wanted to find him. They want to prove that he existed. The best they can come up with, there was a guy that was called Jesus, but not the same one that did the miracles. That's the closest they could come. But even they have to acknowledge the biblical Jesus, of course, but the historical Jesus, they just can't find him. They can't find any records of him. And so there's a whole billion-dollar industry focused on that. So how do you, I mean, you can't go up against that.
It is tough.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Very
peace
tough.
out, y'all, because I got some stuff going, but I
right.
really appreciated it.
No,
I
I enjoyed
apologize
it.
again if I came
No,
across
you're
really,
all good.
really.
You're all
right.
good. Yeah, you got that passion.
All right. Thank you.
You're
And
gonna,
Shaka.
you're gonna marry a white man. Your next husband's gonna be white. You watch.
Wow. Well,
I'm going to head out, though.
we enjoyed your company.
Look, you're gonna
All
find
right,
a white
peace,
man that believes
Shaka.
in Ma'at.
Hotep.
Is Shaka
She
gone?
has a really militant stance, but I understand it. I mean, I understand it. Being exposed to so much, I get it. You know?
Yeah, you got to have that. You got to have everything. My whole thing was, it is a collective effort. I know it gets frustrating, but when I say it's all hands on deck, it doesn't work if we separate. It doesn't mean that everybody can come with it, but there are people that are in our corners that are slowly watching, because with the pandemic, with Trump, with the unemployment, with the economic collapse, all of that, it's an opportunity. The white folks protesting alongside black folks with Black Lives Matters all over the world, regardless of why they're doing it, this is the time to act. Your generation, the two of y'all are the Generation Ys. Y'all.
I'm 40 years old. I think I'm Generation X.
Are
Shaka
you X?
maybe Generation Y.
Shaka, are you X or Y? Shaka, are you X or Y?
Yeah, we're like
what
X,
is
Y, I
what,
guess.
what is X and Y?
You know, generational. Are you in your 30s?
I'm reaching 40. I'm 38.
Yeah, see? So Shaka's
Man, I thought you were way younger than me.
But are you really 40 years old, Brother Duma?
Yeah, I'm 40. Yeah, I'm 40 years old.
You look younger.
Oh, thank you.
when I first saw you, I thought you were younger than me.
Oh, I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
But it's your generation. Your generation is the one that's got the baton passed to it, and that's why we're seeing the changes so fast, because of the social media, camera phones, right, cell phones. All this stuff has been going on for hundreds of years. Now we're capturing it on a cell phone. They've been beating us for hundreds of years. The cops have been doing it. Now we got it on YouTube. We didn't have this before. In 2 seconds, you can start a revolution. You can have people protesting in France within 5 seconds if they all jump on social media and witness a Rodney King. Remember Rodney King back in '92?
I remember Rodney King, yeah.
Rodney King now, you would know in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
In 2 seconds.
It's amazing, man. Like I think the impact of this is going to be really something to see over the next decade or two.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, brothers, let's welcome our sister.
Can I kind of join in with you guys?
Yes.
Thank you so much. I tried to get in before while the other lady was still on here. This is what I wanted to say, because I was listening to Inspired One and I was understanding exactly what he was saying, because coming from a Christian background, and Shaka, you know, I be all over your channel asking all the questions that I can, because I do come from a Christian background, and I feel like I'm in that transition point where I'm like, okay, now I done got enough information where it's like either you accept it or you keep accepting the lie, right? So when I hear him talking about the laws of my eye and how it holds us responsible for ourselves, and then it also includes you know, the law of vibration and all of that, how we have influence in taking responsibility for ourselves, how we can make things happen. That's what I heard Inspired One saying when he was talking about not necessarily like you have to depend on them, but when we come together like a collective mind, that we can influence other people to stand with us. That's what I heard him saying. So Shaka, I didn't really hear you saying like in joining into the conversation. So what I wanted to ask you, coming from a Christian background, and I'm just now getting into this for the last 2 years, I feel like I'm right at that point where I'm just ready to jump off the cliff, right? And I'm just like, forget Christianity. I don't even call myself a Christian anymore. But it's like when you think about the laws of my eye and everything that's included in comedic knowledge is about we can influence things, then are you saying that we should not feel like we can influence other people to stand with us when we're trying to make a change? Because that's what I was feeling like I was getting in the previous conversation from Inspire One, trying to say, if we follow the laws of my art, we should be able to do that, right?
Hmm. When you say other people, do you mean?
Because to me, it seems like it's following.
No, go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
I'm asking you specifically because we're all on your channel because
That's fine.
we agree with the stuff that you share on your channel. We feel like you're educating us and trying to get more information that we don't necessarily have, and you already have that information. So we ask questions. So what I'm trying to say is, according to what my art stands for and what Inspire One was previously saying when the other lady was on here, are you saying that we should not feel that way, that we don't actually have that power? Because that's what he was trying to say,
Mm. Now,
right? That we have the power. If we really truly believe in my art, then we have the power to influence others.
mhm. When you say other people, are you talking about non-blacks or are you talking about Christians?
Non-blacks, whoever we need to be our
Mm,
allies at the
mm,
moment. When you talk about like
okay.
the laws of power, I've
Mm,
also read that book as well.
mm,
But we have the power to influence other people,
mm,
right? Regardless if they're white or
mm.
not.
We can talk to anybody. There's good and bad everywhere. There's good and bad amongst white people. There's good and bad amongst black people, and I have experienced a lot of bad coming from black people. I could even go as far as saying that I never had more problem in my life since I got involved into the information about black history and black culture. I was even physically attacked because I was criticizing some rapists and pedophile, but that's a long story. Um, but and I was physically attacked by some black people, so some black Pan Africans. But we can talk to everybody. But I think there's two different things here. The fact of talking to the people about our culture, sharing our culture, and the situation about allying ourselves. There's many of us, many of black people who don't feel like they need to ally themselves with others. And when we look at others, no matter what they say, because a lot of them have these nice words on paper as if we're all together, but when it comes to their affairs, they are completely in
Mm-hmm.
control of it, and they completely decide what they want to do. Whether that's Europeans, whether that's Asians, whether that's Americans or Chinese or Korean, they are the one who decide where they want to go, what they want to do. And Sister RP earlier was saying that those people are backed by a country. It's true. We don't necessarily have that as a people. Now in Africa, they were trying to come up there, trying to come up with some ideas and solutions. And there was an issue of having a another quote unquote continent, which would be the diaspora. So it will not be a physical continent, but they were thinking about having this the diaspora of black African people or people of African descent. And so I don't know how they will go about it, but it's a reality that a lot of us feel like we don't need to allow ourselves with others. And it doesn't mean that we hate other people, but we do our thing and we control what we want to do. I don't know if maybe I answered your question there, but maybe if you have other questions, then feel free, sister, by all means.
I think maybe I didn't explain it correctly enough. Like what he was
You want me to
saying
try?
was, okay, I'm in America. Okay, I'm not sure if all the rest of you guys are in America, but I
Yes.
know like some of our successes have been brought upon by other people helping us to get there, right? So outside of that, and we always talk about here because you allow us the opportunity to actually ask questions for those people who feel like, okay, Christianity, something is not right, this stuff is kind of weird, and then actually looking back to ancient Egypt and seeing how some of the stuff that we see in the Bible has actually been stolen from previous cultures, right? So when we think about that, and how it says, how he said, know thyself. The kingdom is within you, right? So if we're knowing that and we have the possibility to do these things, why it's not really about like just about us. We have the power to influence other people, right? That's what comedic science is about. Doesn't it include like vibration, the law of vibration, mentalism? Isn't that all included inside of my eye in comedic sciences? So if we have the power to influence, it's not even necessarily like we're looking for somebody to be our allies, but when we come together, we have the power to influence other people to be that for us. Right? Am I understanding comedic science right? Please let me know, because I asked a lot
Well,
of questions because I
no, that's
really, really
fine.
want to know.
That's fine. Feel free with your questions. Now,
Because
this is
like in
subjective.
Christianity, it says, "Oh, trust God, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added unto you." And then we look at comedic science, right? And it says, the God is inside of you as well. So what I'm asking is, we have the power to do that, because she was kind of saying like, no, all these other people, they got these other agendas, they got this, that, and the other. But it's kind of like coming back and saying that you still don't even have that power if you looking to commit in ancient Egypt and what Africans was doing previously prior to Christianity. You still don't have that power if that's the way you're looking at it. That's what I'm saying.
Hmm. But it is subjective when it
Does
comes
that
to
make sense?
that. Yes, I understand what you're saying, but there's an issue of subjectivity when we're saying this is what comedic spirituality is all about. Really, comedic spirituality, as we can know it, is down to the text. What we can make out from the text. Now we can influence people, we can talk to people about the Kemetic spirituality, and there are actually some white people who are deeply into the Kemetic spirituality. They study the language, they practice the rituals the best way they can, and some of them would some of them feel like the ancient Egyptians were mixed, all kind of different people. Some of them would agree or recognize that it was black African people who are at the center of that culture. However, that's some of them. I invite you to try to talk about Kemet or Kemetic spirituality to non-black people. Black people already, the majority don't embrace it, don't accept it, and I'm pretty sure that for non-blacks it will be the same. There will, and it's a natural thing in some way, most people would tend to follow their own culture or the culture of their people or their parents. So everybody's free
Mm-hmm.
indeed to
Can I?
tell non-blacks. Yes, yes, feel free.
No, I have a slightly different take on that. Here's where I think she's coming from, at least where I'm coming from, is it's independent of whether they agree with comedic science or are an ally or hate
Right.
us or love us, by sow the seed, practicing ma'at and working on the God within and being connected to our creator through our ancestors. And me doing it, she can float through life even when everybody hates her. And by her practicing ma'at, it
Right.
will by
That's what I was
default,
saying.
it don't matter. And somebody will come to you, hey, I'm an evangelical
Influence
Christian and I believe,
other
and it don't
people.
matter. Your spirit, you're calm, you're collected. You say, hey, welcome, my brother. How are you doing? I mean,
Oh,
however you choose to diffuse it, and
that's
and you
right.
don't and you don't base your reaction on their reaction. It don't matter whether they believe you or not. If you practice it, and believe it or not, the universe will open up to you. And that's
Mm.
what I think she's saying.
That's
I think.
that's fine. I mean, I hope that there's no misunderstanding. I'm not trying to say that we should not talk to non-blacks about Kemet. That's not what I'm trying to say. Like, for example, when I'm
No,
at
no, no. I
work,
don't mean
I,
that. I mean,
oh yes, yes.
no, I mean, I'm saying we don't worry whether we talk to them or not talk to them. We practice ma'at, and by default, people will be drawn to you and people will be repelled by you. Your energy will bring people in and your energy will push the people away. And it'll push away
That's
the
fine.
people who don't follow your spirit, and it will draw the people in who follow your spirit. And that could be a
Oh, that's
rhyme.
fine.
Yeah, it's not that these people need to be talked to or that they're allies, is her spirit. Well, when she walks into a room, people that hate black people, when she walks into a room, for some reason, people walk up to her and want to give her a glass of water. Say, hey, can I help you? And so her energy gives off a certain strength. And that's where I'm thinking, that's where I'm coming from. Just by you being you, you attract. It's like the law of attraction. You attract what you give off.
Right.
That's what I mean.
Right. That's what I was trying to say. Thank you so much. That's what I was trying to say, Shaka.
Can I say something to you as well? So the seed. What I've read a lot in about Kemetic spirituality is they say a lot of I'm trying to think of the term that they use. It's well, basically they say one of many, and I kind of think that term means that within us there is a God within all of us. We do have this power if you understand it and you really understand Mayat and such. But while the power is kind of in concept, it is a God within us. It's kind of like a drop in a bucket of water. Like God would be, when we look up to God, when we look at outwards at God, God would be like the entire bucket of water. But we're like one drop within that bucket,
right.
And so we can influence things, but we can't do it quite like he does because we're just one drop out of a whole entire bucket. You know what I mean?
Right. So that's what I was saying about a collective consciousness. Like if Inspire One is doing that, I'm doing that, Shaka is doing that, you're doing that, all together that we have the power to influence. That's what I was meaning. And even the people that's still in the chat, like, and come to his channel, that all together we have that power to influence together is what I was saying. Not saying like we need allies, but that we have the power to influence them to be our allies. That's what I was trying to say.
And the other thing is that beautiful sister that was on, I get her. And like I said, I apologize for her that she's been through, we've all had trauma. But here's the weird thing, and you probably not heard this before. Trauma is your friend. Adversity is your friend. People who agree with you, like Shaka, they're not any good to us for growth per se. It's the people that hate us, the ones that want to see us destroyed, the ones that want to see us fail. Because what it makes you do, see, we weren't Shaka, we let our guard down because he thinks like we do. But when you're around people who hate you, that means you got to be on point.
Thirsty for what Shaka sharing.
But you know what I'm not, you know what I'm saying? You learn more from the people who are trying to hurt you, the trauma. And that's where you get your really exponential growth. So when you practice Ma'at amongst those who are out to just destroy you, it makes you call upon the resources. It makes you pray. It makes you meditate. It makes you fast. It makes you eat right. It makes you get proper sleep. It makes you exercise. You do all that because you know what? You know the next morning you got to be at it. And so what I'm saying is trauma is your friend. So what she's gone through, if she really
Shaka, you don't look convinced.
Come again, sister? Come again, sister?
I really want to know what you think.
What I think about what?
Like, I really want to know what you think about it because I don't want to be delusional thinking like, okay, all this stuff was stolen. Like, I see the similarities between multiple texts, not just Christianity and things that you find in ancient Africa, not just that, but even in Hinduism, because I study all types of religion. I took that up when I was in college. So you see the similarities of different types of religion and how ancient Kemet all have influence on all of these different sectors. You can see the different parts and how they're really very similar. They really say all of the same things. So what I'm saying is, from a student, because I feel like I'm on your channel as a student, not somebody who know everything. I'm over here because I'm trying to learn from somebody that I know for a fact knows so much more than me. That is it being delusional to think that those principles actually apply? Or is it like using a substitute from what I previously believed that Christianity stood for? That's what I wanted to know.
Okay, please rephrase
because
the
I don't want to
question.
be delusional. I'm here for truth.
Well,
Yes,
I think what she's asking is what I'm saying. You hear how I'm phrasing it, and she's asking for guidance to say, look, what Inspired One is saying. You've been
Right.
silent. You haven't chimed in. You haven't given us any feedback.
I'm
Give us
trying
your
not to
feedback.
interrupt. But okay,
Okay.
if you don't mind, just ask me a clear, short question.
Am I delusional?
No, but you do sound like some Christians who say,
Okay.
"Turn the other cheek and pray for the one who oppresses you." I mean, that's how you do sound to me. That's how you do sound like to me.
I could take that. I could take that, Shaka.
Mm,
I could take a couple of punches. Give it to me real. That's why I'm on your channel. Like
mm.
seriously, I
No,
want the truth.
I was saying that addressing inspired one,
He said,
but
I look like a turn the cheek type guy.
not that you look, but you sound like, because you
Sound like.
mentioned the people who hate you and you go to work and you have to be on point and so on. I personally, I'd rather be away from people who hate me, black or white, because
Okay.
I have a fair bit of black people who really dislike me because I don't agree with their doctrine. But then again, we all have our different approach. But I really hope that once again, there's no misunderstanding that I'm have the kind of rhetoric of hating non-blacks or stuff. That's not my style. That's not my style. However, what I'm trying to say is I understand why some of us don't want to associate themselves with non-blacks. I really understand because I wouldn't say that trauma is our friend. Now, maybe adversity can help us sharpen ourselves. But when you go to trauma and it's been going on for years and decades, and your family has been going through it, and your ancestors have been going through it, then you're gonna have some defense mechanism. It's understandable. It's
Right.
understandable. But indeed, we can influence people. We all have a voice, and we must do good. Really, we must do good. We must try the best we can. But I don't want to defend something that is negative. But I understand if some of us just don't want to associate themselves with other people because of all the things that have happened. Because at one point, it's it comes to a point where it's not just history, but it's even science. You know, I understand when the sister Up was talking about pathology because there's some behavior that's been consistent, but everybody go about it their own way. But if someone says, "Well, I don't want to associate myself with those people," I wouldn't say that it's a crime. I wouldn't say that it's a crime, really.
Well, I guess the way I
Okay.
look at one of the things I would say is I don't know if everybody defines success differently, right? And I
Mm,
would look at the last 500 years for our people like an American football game. And
mm,
Shaka, we don't have no Super Bowls. We don't got
mhm.
no Super Bowls. And they keep winning Super Bowls. And we are an emotional people and we like symbolic victories, but they like winning and they'll win at any cost. They'll rape,
Yes.
they'll murder, they'll castrate, they'll stab, they'll kill.
Mm,
And to hurt the other lady's point, the 48 laws of power, it's nothing wrong with knowing who your enemy is. But the
mm,
best defense against someone who is a rapist, a killer, a murderer, a dominator, a conqueror, to me is Ma'at, because love, collaboration, it doesn't mean turn the other cheek. Just because I turn the other cheek don't mean I ain't forgot. And you know what? I could be using it as a method to disarm you. So, oh look, he's rolling over and he is playing dead. You know what? I may not be. I may be going
Now
to
I don't know
sleep
about
dead.
that turn the cheek thing. I ain't
Well, I'm
gonna
using it as a
subscribe to that.
metaphor. I'm using it as a
Sorry.
metaphor. You know what I'm saying? I'm using it
Turn
as a
no cheek.
metaphor. So when I say turn the
Okay.
other cheek, you know, I might have something waiting for you when you get ready to go after that other cheek. So all I'm saying is, you know, you can use all of this dysfunction in our community because we have experienced a amount of trauma that we've not overcome. We have more self-hate in our community than any other community.
I was talking more about tactic.
Yeah, I hear you.
Tactic and strategy. Something that I
Well,
feel like we don't really use is tactic and strategy. So when you take the laws of my eye and you saying that you have the power to influence, being able to get inside and have those positions. It's the same thing they did. Like when you think about the Nation of Islam, how they had those people get in and actually kill Malcolm X, they had people to actually get in first. Do you get what I'm saying? So there have to be some type of collaboration for us to get in, to have a strategy for us to even get to that place. And I'm not saying go around and kill everybody. I'm definitely not saying that. I'm talking about using it as a strategy. If we have the power to influence and using it as a strategy, because we don't have strategy. We just kind of
Right. We're not
like,
on code.
here, there, and everywhere. A
Yep.
whole bunch of talking.
Yep. Yep.
Well, influence,
That's what I
in
meant.
my opinion, influence is almost it's kind of like an unseen hand, and there are some applications for influence, but then there's applications where influence doesn't work. And now influence, in my opinion, works in a situation where you're up against a soft target. Someone who maybe already kind of leaning towards being an ally, or maybe already kind of leaning towards the idea of Black Lives Matter, and the idea that some things need to be done for equity regarding race in the world and in America, and so on and so forth. But then against the people who are in total staunch opposition, influence doesn't work for them. And that's why I think it's good to have both strategies that that RP and the Inspire one is saying. The Inspire one has a strategy that I would like to call hoping for the best, and it is good to do that. But then, if I hope for the best, I also have RP's ideals in my background that I'm preparing for the worst at the
Right.
same time. So you want to hope for the best, and you can use Mayot, in a lot of different ways to do that. And Mayot is a philosophy. It's a bedrock that you can put many strategies together that are beneficial to us. But you want to have a multifaceted approach all the time, and that you hope for the best, but you really want to be prepared for the worst, just in case
But,
it happens.
but isn't that part of balance and order?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Right? And propriety and reciprocity. That means if I wreck your car, your brand new car, then I replace it with the exact same type car, right? Or if I kill your calf, I replace it with my best calf, right? Reciprocity. So order, balance, truth, harmony, right?
Mm-hmm.
Justice. Even if the criminal justice system is foul, right? That doesn't mean that we don't exact our term of street justice if that is correct, because just because someone is found guilty doesn't mean that was just, right? So that's where I'm saying,
Sure.
even how our country was founded, it was founded by terrorists, right? So they were going for a just government. If you followed all the rules and regulations, we'd still be in slavery, right? So
Yes.
what's just, what's truth, what's balance, what's order, what's propriety, you know,
So the
what's
seed.
reciprocity?
Did we help bring you some clarity there, sow the seed?
Yeah, a little bit. I think we just have different perspectives, because I actually agree with some of what RP was saying to some perspective, but I also agree with what some of Inspire One was actually saying as well. So when I talk about strategy, like I don't I don't really live on hope for the best. I came from a poverty background, coming from the bottom of the bottom, and I had to use strategy in order to get myself out of that predicament, and that included taking that strategy and incorporating using somebody else who was not of my hue, who was not of my background, and I had to be able to talk that talk and have a strategy to back that up. Do you get what I'm saying? But it allowed for me to get in where I probably didn't belong. Does that make sense? So I do, when I say the laws of my art, when I'm thinking about the laws of my art, not just all of them, but when it says that if the kingdom is in me, right, or God is in me, I have the power to have this influence, that I can go into these specific places and I have the right talk and I have the right walk. That's just the energy that I'm bringing when I come in the room, that I can get myself into these places. I'm already in there. You can't do anything once I'm already there. So that's why I mentioned them bringing other people in, and them being the people who killed Malcolm X within their whole community, or their whatever you want to call it, right? They
Well, they
had a
use
strategy to
infiltration.
get those people in where they did not belong. Say that
Right.
again.
Well,
That's
that
what
was
I'm
Yeah,
your
they
saying.
show and tell
And so
pro.
I
they use
did
That was your
actually,
show
infiltration.
and
I,
tell
I
pro
do
right
kind
there.
of agree with RP in some aspects.
I'm sorry. I just want to
I'm
ask.
sorry, I didn't hear you guys.
Brothers, just want to ask you because when the sister is talking, it's breaking up a lot. But maybe it's my connection. Is it breaking up when for you when she's talking, or is it clear when she's talking?
It was pretty clear for me.
It's pretty clear.
Or it must be my connection then. Must be my connection. Okay.
That
It's
was
Yeah.
mine too. Mine
COINTELPRO.
break up every time one of you guys talk. It start pausing.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's all I wanted to know. I wanted to know that part just because I feel like some of you guys are probably further along than me as far as y'all knowledge. So I'm kind of like a newbie, like I said, almost on the edge, jumping off the cliff into this whole thing and leaving what I've known for so long. So I just wanted to know, like, coming from that background, when you think about everything that I've learned so far, that it's not like going into another set of delusion that I really actually understand what it's about, because that's not what I want. I don't
Hmm.
want to be still
But
lost in a whole nother set of a matrix.
mm, well, but what do you mean when you talk about delusion?
She's talking about red pill and blue pill, right? So the C.
Because previously he was
Mm.
talking about using, go ahead, Inspire One. You probably can say it better than me because he was the one speaking and I was just in the background like, oh, typing. If you go back through the comments, I was typing like, no, I understand what he's trying to say, that if you base it off of that understanding of like not just the laws of my art, but everything that comes along with comedicism, right? It's still a mentalism, the laws of vibration, polarity, that's included, right? Or am I talking about something else?
I'm sorry. Please, because it was breaking up when we were talking, just the last part of your sentence. You said when you're talking about comedicism, is it what?
Does it actually include the law of mentalism, vibration, all of those things is included in this science, right? In this
All right.
understanding. This is
All right.
what they used back in that.
All right.
Maybe I could
Mentalism.
type it in.
All right. No, I've heard you this time, but mentalism and the other word you use, that I don't know about those things. Those things,
Okay.
I don't have any control over that. Really, what I know is what they left, and that's primarily the text. So there's something I used to say a lot, but in the French to the French audiences, we should not become what we don't like. I don't want to become like my enemies. I don't want to do like my enemies. But like Brother Darius said, uh, oh, actually, you know what? I'm sorry because I realized I've been calling you Duma ever since, but this is Darius. I'm sorry.
I knew what you meant. I knew what you meant.
Yes, I'm sorry. Um, but as Darius was saying, then we need to prepare ourselves. But I agree. I don't want people to see to think that the way I see us being comedic is being so militant and closed, not open-minded. Indeed, you should be able to walk through all paths of life, whether you want to be a lawyer, whether you want to go for politics and be an elected official, or um, well, to talk about law enforcement, that would be controversial, but whatever path someone wants to take, then you should be able to take it as long as it's not something that is labeled as criminal or illegal. You should feel comfortable. I myself am comfortable. I've been for years. I've been dealing with this, and my colleagues, they know about it. They see me with a book about Mother Nature. They're very surprised that I'm learning hieroglyphics. They say, oh, is it hard? And sometimes we talk about religion. I say I don't have any religion. I don't believe in the Bible. I don't believe in the Quran.
Mm.
I believe in the traditional African ways. I don't dwell too long about that because they don't really have a clue what I'll be talking about. But we can indeed feel comfortable and do what we have to do. But then there's different areas. It depends what we're talking about. Are we talking about politics? Are we talking about spirituality slash religion? And we have different approach. We have different perspective.
Can I ask a question to Soul the Seed?
Okay.
How would you, can you define mentalism for us and the law of vibration? Can you define that? I think I may know about it, but I may not.
Mentalism.
Yeah, what's
Okay,
mentalism?
so mentalism is pretty much everything. Mentalism is pretty much everything starts with a thought. Everything in this universe, nothing that we see is computer, Us being able to be on this live chat, our cell phones, none of that would exist without it first being a thought, right? And thoughts become things. Do you understand that? That is a short enough description?
Sure,
And
that's a
then when you
great
think about the
description.
law of vibration, I mean, you could look at this. You could think about this live chat, and even if none of us was talking, right, you might be able to feel some type of vibe from me, some type of vibe from Shaka. Most of us are here on Shaka's channel because we get a specific vibration from him. It's something about him, what he's saying, that speaks to something within us, right? And you can do that when you meet a woman. When you meet a woman, you know what her vibration is. You know if she ain't about nothing, or if she is, even if you try to fool yourself, you can feel her vibration. So everything is constantly moving. Everything that seems like it's solid is not really solid. But you can probably Google that. But that's pretty much the simplest form of vibration, right?
Well, it's
So
also
those two,
the law of attraction,
and there's
right? The
other
law of
ones as
attraction.
well, like gender and polarity and all of that.
It's also
Go
talks
ahead,
about
Inspire One.
the law of attraction in terms of you attract what you give off. So if you give off a certain energy, you attract that same energy. You know, it comes to you. So if you have negative thoughts and you think, I kind of go to like the scarcity or abundance mindset. If you have a scarcity mindset, then everything that you
Poverty
look at
mindset.
is like, oh, I
I
don't have
changed my
enough.
life with that.
Yeah, I don't have enough of this. I don't have enough of this. I don't have enough of this. Versus an abundance mindset is I have enough. I'm gratitude. Even though I might have 2 pennies in the bank, I have enough. And that in itself, while it may seem delusional, you will act in a way to attract more by the
Right,
way you
more.
conduct yourself.
But if I can say something, Martin Luther King, what he was projected was nothing but positivity, and we know what happened to him.
Really?
So
You think he wasn't about positivity?
no, I'm saying what he was maybe I
You
did not
think he
express myself.
was?
What he was projecting was positivity. It was all about positivity.
Right.
But the result, we know what happened.
Well,
He he
let
di-
me
he did
let
not attract. He did not attract what he was projecting. So it seems
well,
subjective to me.
but
Sounds like
think about
metaphysic, in other words.
maybe if you think of the universe and everybody is here for a
It's
certain amount of
metaphysics.
time, maybe his work was done, and maybe the baton was passed. Maybe he spawned that to which we are going through right now. So when you say he didn't attract, maybe his earthly work was complete, and it was time for another generation or for some other foot soldiers to step up to maybe get to where we are. Maybe that spawned a Barack Obama. Maybe that spawned a Shaka or a
Well,
Darius.
it's
And
when I
I see what you mean, and we could say the same about George Floyd. But really, it would be best for the individuals to choose for themselves if they want to die and if they want to die violently. But that's up to interpretation, really.
I'm sure Dr. King did not want to vibrate, getting his head almost shot off.
Right. I don't think he wanted that. I
I'm
think
sure
he
he was putting
sacrificed.
something else out there in the universe.
hold on before y'all go off the deep end. Hold on before y'all go off the deep end. When you talk about the law of vibration, right? It also includes everything that you have around you. So the people that you have around you can actually affect your vibration. This is what oh, okay.
You broke
It
up.
froze for a little bit, but when they talk about the law of vibration, it also includes the people that are around you. So say you have a friend or a wife or a husband or your man or your kids, if they have a certain type of vibe, say the people around him was talking about him getting killed, and now he's starting to think about I'm gonna die, they're gonna kill me, they're gonna kill me. Even though he was walking and he was still saying what he had to say, in the back of his mind, he's thinking everybody is saying I'm gonna get killed.
Right.
They're going to kill me. So he's still attracting that, and that's the law of vibration. So it's not just about what you think; it's about the people around you that you allow influence your vibrations as well. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's not
Yeah.
just you alone. That's what we talk about, the collective consciousness. But Shaka, I just thought that was a part of comedic science. So if that's something totally different, then that's just something I have to learn, I guess.
Mm. I don't think that the law of attraction
So,
is
like, if you're trying to start a business and you think about,
It's gonna fail. It's gonna fail. It's gonna fail. It's gonna fail.
I mean
right, if
that
you're
that
trying to start a
that
business
I
and you think
mean
about the law of
mm,
attraction, the reason why isolation leads to
mm,
elevation is because when
mm.
you take yourself away into your own kingdom, into your own space, and you don't have people saying like, "Girl, that's not going to work," or "How you going to start a
I
business? You don't have
understand. I
money,"
mean,
but you're only dealing with
I'm
your own vibrational frequency. More than likely, it's going to work.
mm,
That's what
and
vibration means. Like
mm,
everything is vibrating.
mm, and I understand, and I think that Sow the Seed and Inspired One. I think you probably both have seen The Secret, and maybe you have seen What the Bleep Do We Know, right?
I haven't seen The
Am I
Secret.
no?
I have
Okay.
not.
Well, that was a wild guess, but is it the same for you, Sow the Seed? Have you
I
seen?
thought it was part of comedicism.
Okay, so
When
I
I
wouldn't.
started, when I started researching from your channel, it listed 7 principles as part of being comedic
Mm,
science. That's what it listed as. So
um,
when I see you say my aunt forever and they include those things together, I'm learning from online, I guess.
I
mm.
guess what
But
Shaka's
I
talking
mean,
about.
I'm sorry. I just want to say that to make just please. Um, I'm not in a position to dictate what comedic spirituality is. Now, my personal opinion is that the law of attraction, that's not the comedic spirituality. But at the end of the day, I don't know it all. If someone can show me a text from Kemet that talks about the law of attraction, then we can take it further. And I'm not saying that the law of attraction is wrong. Now, I don't believe in it. I think it's you wishing for some things, and it's good to have good vibrations or positive vibration, and you want to succeed. But I don't think we can say it's a fact. Like the
So
analogy or the example that Soderseed said about Martin Luther King, it's possible that some people told him, "Watch out, you might die." But we are not in a position to say, well, he was thinking about that so much that eventually it happened to him.
well, I think if I could interject here, when we say the law of attraction, we're not saying that it's a scientific, you write it in a book, but
The
it
law of
is,
attraction is the white version. I'm talking about the law of vibration from the
yeah,
cabal.
vibration. Okay,
From the
vibration.
Kabbalah? Did you say from the Kabbalah?
The Kabbalion.
The Kabbalah.
The
Oh,
7 hermetic principles. Is that what it's
okay.
called?
Okay. Well, I've heard about the Kabbalion. But then again, I mean, people really, if people can refer me to a particular text, then I guess we could take it further.
Well,
But
here's an example. Here's an example.
mm,
From the Emerald
Tsunamis.
Tablets, I believe. Let me see if I can find a link.
On the tsunamis, on the tsunamis where the animals instinctively go to higher ground before the tsunami hits, right? Is that familiar? Everybody's familiar with that?
mhm.
So I think there's some kind of vibration in their spirit, in those animals, that they sense that the tsunami is coming and they go instinctively to higher ground. And so the same thing is, I think, what she's referring to about vibrations. Like when you're around people and you're around negative, defeatist, deceitful, demonic people, your spirit is disturbed and you will manifest some of that negativity unless you can counter it some way or shape or form. I don't think there's anything you can write down to say, oh, if I'm around 10 hateful people, it equals I'm going to be hateful too. I'm just saying it's very disruptive to your spirit to be around negative people who have no hope. And so
If you
maybe
take the
just
energy.
the energy. And so maybe Dr. King, because there were some speeches where Dr. King says, I may not make it with you, but I've seen
Yes,
the promised land. So that to
yes,
me was very negative. That's him basically saying he's putting out into the universe, I may die. I may die. I may not see this. Now, I'm not saying you can document it with scientific books, but there is something about you give off and it comes back to you. And if you think, it says, as a man thinketh, right? If you think you're going to die, Dr. King, then pretty much you've put it out there to the universe, and the universe the vibrations will do everything it can to make sure that comes through. Now, I know that's simplistic, and I'm not saying it's that clean cut, but I think there is something about you being around positive, hopeful. It doesn't mean you're naive. It doesn't mean you think, rose petals, Santa Claus, the leprechauns, and all that. But it does mean
Mhm.
in relationships, in romantic relationships, everybody who's been in, you know what, when you're with a partner that's negative, that doesn't support you, that says,
It
oh, that'll
affects you.
never work, it affects you.
It does. It does affect you. I agree with you. However, when it comes to Dr. King, when it comes to Martin Luther King, the way I see it is he was killed. We don't know for sure if it was that guy that they arrested that was later killed, or if it was some more skilled professional sniper. But um, the way I see it is that someone wanted to kill him, and that person killed him. And I don't agree to say that he was killed because he had those negative thoughts. But
No,
then
no,
again,
no,
that's
not
subject.
that. No,
Yes.
I don't
Okay,
mean that. I'm just saying, but don't you agree that there's a higher power at work? That I don't believe that things happen by coincidence. And I'm not saying God or the universe put a gunman and shot him. I'm saying that everything is unfolding. The universe is undefeated. This thing is Trump. We earned Trump. We earned him here in America. I know that's hard to say, but you know what? I don't think any of this is by coincidence. I just don't.
well, hey, can I think Shaka and myself, we have some experiences that may kind of give us a unique view on that kind of thing. Shaka, were you not involved in some form of fighting? Weren't you like a kickboxer?
Yes. Yes.
See,
Muay
myself,
Thai, kickboxing. Yes.
when I was younger, I was an amateur boxer. I almost went professional. And
Mhm.
I'm bringing this up to tell you guys this. Okay, so two guys step in the ring, and we both are definitely putting big vibrations out there that we're gonna beat. That I'm gonna beat him, and he's putting out vibrations that he's gonna beat me. What it comes down to, however, is who has the better strategy, who's better prepared, um,
Strategy.
who. Yeah, it comes down to strategy. It comes down to who prepared themselves better in their training, who's the better fighter that night when we step in the ring. I think the esotericism of like having the vibrations and putting this energy out there, I think it has its place, but it's important to understand that uh, in the real world, you really do have to have strategy where the rubber meets the road. Because really it's kind of like vibrations flying all over the place. You know what I mean?
Well, let me respond to that real quick. So I know, as positive as I am, that I can't play for the Dallas Cowboys. Okay.
Mhm.
So that doesn't mean that you do it in a way that's naive or irrational. So when you say two fighters get into the ring, I'm going to push back on that. There is a mental aspect to fighting, and you can smell the fear in another man. I don't care how confident, how prepared he is. Sometimes the spirit that you bring to the fight, like they say, the fight inside the that's not the dog that you bring, or what is the fight inside the dog or whatever. But I'm not talking about a guy that's 800 pounds going against a guy that's got a 32-inch waist and can bench press 800 pounds. I'm talking about once you get things equal in terms of, you can't be irrational. You can't have a 80-year-old woman going up against Shaka in a kickboxing match. I'm talking about you know what I'm saying. And it's within reason. I don't jump off a
Yeah, I
building
see.
thinking I can fly because I'm
Good.
positive.
Yeah, I see that you have a very balanced view of it, and that's good. That's
Yeah,
cool.
you don't jump off a
That's the same
building
thing
because
I'm
I think
saying.
I can fly.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yes. I mean, you see, there's a lot of people who are into metaphysics, and they talk about vibrations and other kind of things. And if that helps them in their journey, then so be it. Now, I personally, I've been very vocal about metaphysics for many years, and I just hope and wish that us as a people will remain on planet Earth. Because when I hear some of us, and I'm not talking about people here right now, I'm not talking about any of the three of you who are here with me, but many times over the years, I've been hearing our people talk about metaphysics, and it seems like they're living on the moon or on Pluto. They are very out there, you know, very out there,
I agree.
you know.
Get a
Well,
little
And
delusional. You gotta have balance.
yep.
come again?
She said you got to have balance. You got to have
Oh
balance.
I
yes, yes,
agree.
yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Earlier I addressed something, and once again, I don't want to say the brother's name because he's incarcerated, so I don't want to sound like I'm kicking a man down. But he was going publicly on tape saying that male can breastfeed. You know, so you have so many things like that. Um, but then again, since we don't hear too much about metaphysics, I don't really want to bring that up because I don't want it to come back into fashion. But at some point,
But Shaka, do you not?
yes.
So you don't that part of that part you don't use at all? Because I put a link down in the comment section, but that part, when it comes to comedics, that's not the part that you subscribe to. You
I'm
subscribe to the
no
history and
just
the facts.
things. Yes, facts really mainly, and I have belief, and I've said that before, but I keep them to myself. I don't. I don't see it necessarily beneficial for me to go to someone and say, okay, I have that, I have those beliefs and stuff like that. I pay homage to my ancestors. This belief that I have, but I cannot break down my beliefs to other people. So I'm trying to stick as much to the facts as possible because I'm in here dealing with history and religion as well, and telling the people, well, that's not factual, that's theology. So once again, I don't want to become what I don't like. You understand? When it comes to Kemet, there are indeed some spirituality, or we could say religious aspect, and I'm aware that a lot of people don't like that word religion, but there is the historical aspect as well. And sometimes people who want to criticize Kemet, they put a bigger emphasis on the spiritual side rather than the spiritual, the historical side. Like they will say, okay, look, you have the human beings with the falcon head or the jackal head and so on. But we have the historical fact. And when it comes to Ma'at, indeed, we have those order, justice, reciprocity, and so on. But when we look at the wars, we can see scenes of war. We can see the pharaoh holding the enemies. Now this is symbolic, but he's holding different type of enemies by the hair and ready to smite them. This is part of it as well. Now once again, I don't want people to have me confused. I'm not saying that we should go all out and we should be warrior like. That's not what I'm saying. But that's a part of life as well. When you're being attacked, then you it's best to defend yourself. If you don't defend yourself,
Is
then
that reciprocity? Isn't that reciprocity? Maybe.
well, we could say that. We could say that. We could say that.
But I think with reciprocity, sometimes we have to be careful with that principle because just like I can remember in certain fights, sometimes I would be at a better advantage if I took the first shot. If I threw the first shot, sometimes reciprocity would work for me against certain opponents. I would wait until they throw and counter punch them in this and that nature. So I
Yes.
think reciprocity in and of itself, it has places and places
Mhm.
where it shouldn't be as well.
I mean, I'm
Yes.
not using one word, but I guess what I'm saying is let's not get hung up on one principle. It's a
Mhm.
combination and using judgment, right? Using
Yes.
Yes.
reasonableness. And it's not, like I said, it's not me jumping off a building thinking I can fly because I'm positive, I have positive vibrations and my heart will protect me. It's it's using good judgment and
Mhm.
discernment, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And when you have different cultures, you have different stories of creations, story of the legends or myth about how they came about and different things that happen. And if you look, for example, at the Chinese people, they have the Chinese New Year, and they have these dragons and all kind of things. Now, for us, we don't know what it's all about. I don't speak Chinese, and it seems strange, but it's their culture, and it works for them. So,
Mhm.
as Black African people or
Mhm.
people of African descent, then we have tried many things. It did not really work for us. Some of us thought that it was our cultures, but I'm doing the work to show that it's obviously, according to the data, we cannot say that it was our culture. However, we have something for sure that we know is our culture. I think you have seen the depiction of Amenhotep III, one of the most powerful king of Kemet, and we can see his phenotype is definitely black Africans. So we know they were, and he's not the only one. But people might embrace Kemet, they might not embrace Kemet. But what I'm trying to say is that people have belief, and it might be strange belief, but it works for them. Islam is the greatest thing that ever happened to Arab people. Christianity, I think, is one of the greatest things that happened to Europeans. It worked for them, but those things didn't necessarily work for us. So I guess why not try something that worked for us? And when I say why not try, I'm not saying that we should put all our life and all our soul and all our energy into it, but those
You know,
who, yes, go ahead.
another way I say what you're saying is, if Christianity was working for our people, it would be illogical, because why would someone give us the empowerment to be with the creator and enslave us? Why would somebody give me poison and say, here, drink this poison, it's going to make you better? So in a way, Christianity, we are more Christian, we are more spiritual with our Christianity, but it was given to us by people who wanted to harm us. So it's
Hmm.
almost like, okay, here's a book I want you to read that's going to tell you about a savior and the blood of Jesus and God. Now go back out there and pick that cotton. So it's like it doesn't measure up. So you almost got
It
to
doesn't
ask
match.
yourself, why would you give me something that's going to empower me? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it was never meant to empower. And that's why
Mm.
they
Right.
always tell us that this life you may suffer and you may toil and you may go through all these things in this life, but when you die,
In the
you're gonna go
hereafter,
to heaven.
you go to,
Yeah.
You
yes,
know,
Look,
yeah.
I get
you'll
to
be
drive a Range
redeemed.
Rover. Look, I drive a Range Rover. You're checking the bus. So in your spiritual world, you'll have your Range Rover in the clouds in heaven. Now
Mm,
on earth, you ain't gonna have no Range Rover. I'm gonna
mm,
have a
Yep.
Range Rover, but you'll have yours
mm,
in heaven. So just hope, and when you
mm.
die one day, it'll be waiting for you in heaven. So go back out there and pick that cotton.
And we had some people, we had some Christians, black Christians, who flipped the script, like Creflo Dollar. This guy even
Yes.
changed his
I
surname
need
to
my $60
Dollar.
million airplane.
There you go. And we have TD Jakes. We have a white pastor in America. He has his own airport. So some
Joel
people flip the
Osteen.
script and they do that prosperity preaching and
Yep.
so on. But at the end of the
Yep.
day, they have some belief. They have a religion. They have so many followers, so they are able to live that lifestyle. But no matter how rich those pastors are, because of the wealth accumulated, they are able to help their members when they go through some difficulties in life. And that will also strengthen that faith. And
Sure.
us who are either into the Kemetic way of life or other traditional African ways of life, when we would get more people, as long as we do good, we don't have to be perfect. Nobody's perfect. But if we have enough people, we'll be able to generate wealth and also help our fellow people first. And then eventually, if we are big enough, like you have those religious organizations, like Christian organizations that help in different countries when there's a flood or something like that. We have Muslims organizations who do the same thing. Eventually, if we're strong enough and powerful enough, then we might help other people as well when there's a dramatic event that happens in some part of the world. We're not there yet, but this is something that's possible. But only if we deal with non-fence riders, because the fence riders, I see them as we are on the boat. I'm in the front. I don't look at you. I trust you. You're in the back. I'm rowing in one direction, but you're rowing in the opposite direction. I really dislike fence riders. I rather like I'd rather someone tell me I don't like you and I'm down with you. But we have many who are like that. So when we will have enough people, eventually we will ultimately be able to grow and help. And for the wealth, it's not difficult. If you have enough people, like John Henry Clark say, everybody wears underwear. So we can just make underwear. Everybody uses toilet paper. We can make toilet paper, toothbrush, soap. And
Mm.
one example. Now he had a very strong accusation against him, Dr. York. The accusation was very strong. So a lot of people see him in a negative light because of this accusation. I don't know if it's true or not, Some people came forward and say was, well, one person came forward that I know of on tape and said that he was molested by York, but Dr. York was sending off kind of stuff, and he ended up being very wealthy. And in the end, he had this little village or community, and they were doing their thing. So, and with other groups, it's the same as well. The Ahmadiyya, uh, you have those people from India slash Pakistan that came to America, and that guy talked about he's a messiah, which is similar to the Nation of Islam when they're talking about the father and person and so on. And then they grew, and the Nation of Islam also, we know the deal. Even though they have the Savior's Day and they have the newspaper that they have to sell, and they actually, there's a book called Inside the Nation of Islam, and the guy was a member. He went very high in ranks, probably to the rank of minister. But he explained that those newspaper, those Final Call newspaper, there's some expectation of sales that they have. So what they do, they go the easy route. They buy the whole bunch, and then if they manage to sell it, so be it. If they don't, then that's a shame. And whenever it's Savior's Day, they make offering to the leader of the NOI, and it goes to the hundreds or thousands of dollars, and that's how they get their wealth. And the Christians is easier because there's a tenth or the tithe. You have to give a tenth of your salary, and
Right.
so it's as simple as that. Really, it's as simple as that.
Well, it's a
And
business.
yeah, and there's strength in numbers. You know, the more people you
Definitely.
have, because like I have the people who make donations. Unfortunately, it's always the same people. I have so many subscribers. If just a bit more people will make even less donation, then I probably would have gone to that trip already. But I'm still waiting to have enough. But that's life, you know. It's all good. The
Well,
most important, just to finish with that, the most important is that the information is shared. If I don't get to go to those museums as I want to soon, so be it. Maybe another time. But I just have the opportunity in time, you know, time off work and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I'm very happy you are here, and
okay.
many people are here because the information is there, and that's already, to me, I see that as success already to a certain level.
Awesome.
Hey,
That's so
and thank
humble of
you.
you.
Yeah, and thank you for
Thank
so
you.
much, man. I look, when I first got onto your channel, I started watching the videos about the Medu Nature, and I mean it's so many great videos on your channel, man. I'm very appreciative. I would be in this very room working out on the elliptical back behind me, watching
Maybe
your
you and
videos.
RP can hook up in our military part. Cause she'll go in there fight and she'll make sure this word get out for sure.
Mhm.
She had a military spirit. Cause I know when I come
Yep.
to your channel, I'll be like, man, why is not more people watching his videos? It be making me mad. Like, hey, y'all come over here and watch my forever. And to me, I feel like I wish more people knew your channel exists because it's not a lot of people giving it to us the way that you give it to us. So excuse all of our passion where we like, okay, just shake the vote, just shake the vote a little
Doc,
bit so we can get some more people over here because we're passionate about what you're sharing and we want more people to know what you're talking about.
Mm,
So
talk
I
about
appreciate that.
I don't
Beyonce,
know.
though.
That's how
Talk
I
about
feel.
Beyonce
I
so I can.
literally get like, oh my God, why is not more people on this live chat?
Mm. But brothers and sisters,
For real.
once again, back in 2011, I had two accounts. Um, one was called Afro Styly with the I, just like iPhone, and the other one was Afro Styly with three Y's at the end. Afro Styly is the name of my website. One had 3,000 subscribers. The other one had 4,000 subscribers. And there's a squad that I don't want to name, but many people know them. They went against me because I disagree with the Nation of Islam teaching that says that Africans are living a jungle life and so on. And then they flagged my account. They even made an anonymous video slandering me, insulting my mother, my father, and so on. But I lost 7,000 subscribers in like a couple of days. Then I had many accounts like that with thousands of subscribers, and the latest one that was in 2016, I had 9,000 subscribers. The video, which is called Ma'at, Kemet and Ma'at, really the title is Introduction to Kemet. That video, Introduction to Kemet, in 2016, it had 300,000 views.
Oh,
In 2016, now it just is still at 300,000. So it took me 3 years to build it back up. Now I have 16,000 subscribers. That's more than before, but I kept having to start over again and over again. But I think now this channel will be here to stay for a good while. and it will grow eventually. I mean, I'm personally very happy because I don't know how long you've been following the live stream, but when I was doing the live stream, you barely had people who will come in. I had to say several times, don't nobody want to talk, and then the brother Inspired One came, and then the sister, I'm sorry, the brother Darius came, and then RP came, and now we have 4 people. But first I was by myself, and that's the way it goes. It takes time, slowly but surely,
Well,
but we're getting there.
it's
Yes.
marketing. It's marketing, and like I said, I know it sounds a little cheesy, but maybe you've got to come up with a way. And I joke when I say Beyonce, but you got to,
Oh, I understand. I mean, it
did
would
Jesus
work.
exist?
It,
Yeah,
it, it
did
would work.
Jesus
Your
exist or
approach,
something?
yes,
Yeah.
your approach would work. Really, it would work. But at the end of the day, I'm like, I, sometimes in life you have to do how you feel, and I feel like doing it
Yeah.
the way I'm doing it now, because at the
Yeah.
end of the day, it works. But it's true, if you put strong titles like Beyonce, stuff like that, uh,
Or
if you,
Nick
I
Cannon.
mean, like,
Invite Nick Cannon. Invite
well,
Nick
no,
Cannon on.
he wouldn't come to my channel.
Yeah, he's a
I,
Hebrew Israelite. He won't.
no, not because of that, but I don't have I will have to get my numbers up to even him considering coming to my platform. But
Maybe not.
I, well, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't even try, because I have to be realistic. I have 16,000 subscribers, and
It's not
uh,
about the subscribers. You got the truth.
uh,
You tell the truth. You
no,
Yeah,
tell the
they
truth.
would.
I,
They
You
would.
tell the truth,
You got
Shaka.
that's
Come
what we
on,
was talking
man.
mm,
about, mentalism,
mm.
Shaka. We was talking
But
about
you
mentalism and
you
the
know
law of
you know,
vibration.
brother,
We trying to
brothers.
speak this life into your
Mm.
channel.
But brothers and sisters, I rather, and I'm not the type to just make compliments for the sake of making compliments, but I'd rather have people like you than people like him, because this guy went on talking about the true Hebrews and then black Hebrews and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
he doesn't have to do a 9 to 5. He can study, and for him to say that, and that's not against him. That's where he's at right now. But uh, people who push the Abrahamic stuff, I'm not trying to have them on my platform. There's
But
enough
let me
people
ask you
doing
this,
that.
Shaka.
Yeah,
Let me ask you
yeah,
this. Let me ask you this.
yes.
One of the reasons I admire athletes, even though we shouldn't put them on pedestals, they are the closest thing we have to our warrior class. And so I would look at it differently by saying inviting Nick on your channel would be your opportunity to speak your truth and to, in a loving way, not an adversarial way, say, brother, I love you, but here's why I invited you. You
Okay,
said some things. That's how you get your numbers up.
okay, brother,
You gotta do all that.
give me an
That's
email
what
address.
you do in the live chat.
I'm sorry, give me an email address. I will send
Okay.
him an email. I will invite him, and you will see he will not come.
Okay.
So,
Now you've put that out in the you've put that out in the universe, right? So you got to put positive energy out there. He will come. He will come.
okay, well,
He will come.
hopefully it will come, and then we'll see. But I will end it there, because I want to be positive as you wish I should be. But it's growing. It's growing. It's growing. We had some brothers from Nigeria, some people from South Africa. People cannot always be there at the same time. Right now, it's actually 2 a.m., half past 2, basically.
Oh,
So yes, and I have to work tomorrow morning, so
okay.
I will
Sorry.
put an end to it soon. But because of the time difference and so on, but I'm very happy with the way it is right now. I'm very happy, because there was a time when um and I mentioned that a lot. I'm aware of that, but I had some people on some campaign to vilify me, and it was real messed up, because there were so-called conscious people that I really appreciated. So I've been through so much. I was used at one point to have several people making videos against me, saying all kind of things. I was called an agent and all that. But now it's cool. Now it's cool. I mean, with all the work that have been put out, the videos have been put out, the years in the study, people kind of have more respect for what I do. But back then, they just saw me as, oh, that dude in France, that guy in France. That's how they labeled me.
Yeah.
Some guy even said that, I can't say his name because he said that publicly, but Lord Daba used to say that light skinned brother in France. He labeled me a pig and stuff like that. But we spoke not long ago when he was on Sander's platform. It was cordial. That was back then. But now it's cool. Now it's cool. People are paying attention, and I have a lot to learn, and there's a lot I want to share. So I'm quite satisfied. Really, it's the way it is now is way better than back then, because back then, I mean, people really labeled me an agent.
Yeah.
Well, I think some of that comes from your dedication to scholarship. People are not used to like such a dedication to scholarship on these type of channels, man. And really, that's what really attracted me the most to your channel. I really do like how you show principles. Principle. You show documentation. You really uh, bring things in a scientific light when you're speaking about history and you're speaking about religious history. And I think that's really cool, man. But I think that's off-putting to people who aren't so scholastic themselves. You know.
Yes, and I agree with you, because a lot of people are just used to just freestyling, going off the dome, and having people saying, "Oh, yes, that's powerful information." And the way I do, I'm not saying that everybody should do the way I do, but at least in the academic world, or you have to reference things. You cannot just claim things without being able to substantiate it, and it takes time. People
Yeah.
look at the videos that I put out, but they don't know how much time it took to get to that video, and that's the way it is. But I'm being meticulous because I think it's the right way, and hopefully the people who look at what I do, they will also be meticulous, and they will not be they will be confident and comfortable, and they will not make a fool out of themselves, because I don't want people to look at some things that I said, or some videos that I said, and go into some uh either public or private, but talk to different people and say some things and people laugh at them. I want them to be able to say, well, you know what? I didn't say this in the Louvre Museum, it's in the British Museum, or it's that scholar who said that in that book. Bart Ehrman said, we don't have any originals for the Gospels. We don't have the copies of the originals, and so on. So always reference things. So this way, they don't make a fool out of themselves, and they learn and they have confidence.
I think that's probably why. Who's the guy that you were supposed to debate and he didn't show up?
It's called Dr. Wesley Mohammed. He has a PhD in Islamic studies. So, but that was back in 2011. However,
A while ago.
yes, that was back in 2011. So, I don't hate him, but I went at him quite hard, because he said, "Throw Kemet in the garbage can, throw my out in the trash can, throw Ahmed Rather slave, making God away." That's the only reason why I went at him quite strongly. But I don't feel like I disrespected him, like curse him or use foul names and stuff like that. I mean, I nicknamed him Little Homie. That was the thing. I used to call him Little Homie. But I really don't have hate for him. I just disagree with his claim. That's all.
I'll bet you he took a look at your channel and saw the attention to detail and probably got a little intimidated. I'm
Oh
sure that's
well,
what happened.
yes, you are correct. You are correct, because um, I started quoting the Islamic literature, and he knew that I would not come like the others who debating him came, because the others did not touch on the subject matter. And but it's all good, because at the end of the day, I still shared some of the things that would have brought to him, and the main thing is that he cannot refute the Islamic literature. He cannot refute Sahih Bukhari. He has a claim about Abiyad, and it's not the first one anyway. At the end of the day, he did not come up with that claim. There's someone before that he mentioned as well, called Tariq Berry, who had that book called The Unknown Arabs. And other people have tried to claim that basically the Arabic word Abiyad means black. And so it's a bit of a linguistic discussion as well, but um, it's fine. It's fine. But most of our people, unfortunately, they will not take the time into learning these Arabic terms and going through this literature. So they just hear someone who has a PhD who says, "Okay, Abiyad, Asmar," and so they don't know what all this means. It takes time, but it's okay. At the end of the day, we'll get some clarity over those things. We'll
I
get
think
some
you hit the
clarity.
nail on the head, man, when you said it takes time. I
Yes.
think people from I don't know, man. I think so much comes from like being fighters, man. Like we're used to going running, we're used to spending hours
Exactly.
and hours
Exactly.
training. So we
Exactly.
don't we'll sit down and put the hours and hours into the work that's
Mm.
needed to really study and be meticulous.
Mm.
Unfortunately, a lot of people aren't willing to do that, and we really suffer because of it,
Hmm.
at times.
It's true, and what the analogy you made is it matches perfectly, and it goes back to Ray Haggins. Ray Haggins did not prepare himself, and he came on stage, and then he was like, okay, he just started preaching. All he would have taken is him preparing himself. That's all he would have taken.
He's perfectly capable. And I was just really outdone when I saw that. You were the one who put me onto that too. I had no idea that had happened, and
Mm-hmm.
I had watched a bunch of his videos before. And when I saw that, I was just like, "Why would he do that? Like what? Like who would?" That's
Oh
like a
no,
fighter getting into the ring, and you spend 2 months before the fight at home eating bonbons.
yes,
Like you
yes,
got to come in there ready.
exactly. He really underestimated Justin Muhammad, but then again, Justin Muhammad was just came on the scene back then. But now Wesley chose his path. He's down with the Dianetics and the Church of Scientology, just like the Nation of Islam. So he has chosen his path. It's all good. I'm not done with the with the let's say that this Abiyad or Prophet. Actually, today that's what I was about to say. I was about to talk about the Prophet Muhammad hoax and go to the quotes, but I think I will do it tomorrow. But there's some more that could be shared. But at the end of the day, all I'm going to say, uh, okay, no, I will leave it there. I will leave it there. I mean, if somebody really wants to challenge me, then I will just do some simple stuff. But there's only so far they can go. There's only so far they can go. But then again, I don't want to dwell because there's some ammunition that I have. But at the end of the day, right now, because it's like a 2:36 a.m. and I have to
Got to
work in
be
the
late,
morning.
yeah.
That's the reason. Inspired one. I see that you tried to come back, but that's the reason I didn't put you on the stream because I'm about to put an end to this live stream. But really, brothers and sisters, I really want to thank you, and I'm glad. It makes me happy that you appreciate my work, and it also encourages me to keep on doing the good work and not be big headed, not have a crazy ego. But at the end of the day, what I want to do, if I want, I want to keep putting out accurate information. And if I have 10,000 subscribers or 50,000 or 300, as long as I put the accurate information, at least people will say, okay, Shaka was on point about that. He showed and proved that, and that matters a lot to me.
That's
All
cool,
right.
man. We sure appreciate it.
All right. Thank you very much, brother. So, brother, I'm just gonna put an end to this live stream. But thank you very much, brother. So, brothers and sisters, remember, for those who don't know, this possible opportunity of going to several museums in one trip. So if you want to make a donation, it would be appreciated. The address is there. It's also on the video. It's paypal.me/maat4elva. And tomorrow I will do the live stream as well. And it will be 5 p.m. New York time. And tell your friends about the channel, and particularly the video entitled Kemet and Maat. If that's one video that I would like you to share, is that one. And if you have questions, just like the sister had questions, just like the brothers had questions, then feel free to write them down and ask them whenever you come on the live stream. If I can answer, I will, or I would try. And if I can't, then I will tell you I don't know. Okay. So stay safe, stay healthy, brothers and sisters. And I will definitely holler back at you. Do I too? Do I need you? Hotep.
Hotel.